You can measure the size of an elephant. You can clock the speed of a cheetah, but you can't quantify the heart of a kings, queens, and in-betweens. Welcome to Dr. Boxing Talk. Stream starts now.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good Sunday, fun day, brethren and sisters, ladies and lads, hermanos, mi hermanas, kings and queens, brothers and sisters. Y'all know what time it is. The doctor's in the house. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We are here. We are here. We are here. What it do? What it do? Let's hit this quick roll call. You know how we do. First off, before we get into that, man, don't forget to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm assuming if you are here, you already subscribed with the notifications on. So pat yourself on the back. Big salute to you. Hit this roll call real quick. We got my brother in the game, mi hermano, Mr. Oscar Perez in the building. Yes, sir. Big member in the building. We got free smoke in that build. Free smoke, free smoke. Hey, free smoke, free smoke. Hey. Just made it out the zoo. Oh, yeah? What you said? What kind of animals you was watching? You know what I'm talking about? You said, but yeah, man. So we have a lot of things to talk about before we get to it, man. You know, it's first day of the week, Sunday. You know, a day that we got to give thanks. So we always got to start off our stream with thanks as all the time. You know, so please join me and bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for bringing us to the start of another new week, another new beginning. Every day that we are blessed to see you, open our eyes and breathe and get to enjoy, Lord. It's another day for us to keep riding in our story, keep going in our story to correct the wrongs of yesterday and even leave some things of yesterday in the past, Lord, and build for the future. So we thank you for bringing us to this day and let us know that we have more work to do, more love to give, and more productivity to be done, you know, and to be had. So we want to give you all the glory and remain faithful in you and put you first and try to always do the best thing. I know a lot of times we fall short, but when we fall short, we ask for your forgiveness, the repentance, and we ask to just move forward in a more positive, faithful way. And we thank you for all your blessings. We thank you for your glory. We thank you for your grace, your mercies, and your love and your blessings, bountiful blessings, plentiful blessings, abundant blessings. We thank you, Lord, through Jesus' name. And we ask that you guide us in ways to utilize our blessings, not just for the benefit of ourselves and our families, but everybody that inhabits this beautiful world that we have. Through Jesus' name, amen. Amen, amen, amen. So let's get right to it, man. I want to start off with this weekend's card, man. There was a lot of good fights, a lot of not a lot of big fights, but a lot of good fights, right? Because we had two cards. We had the DAZN card, which was primarily Golden Boy, and then we had the Top Rank card, you know, and on ESPN. So that was cool. And you know, there was some good things. We're gonna start from the bottom, man. Starting off with the Top Rank card, had Emiliano Vargas. Emiliano Vargas, you know, the son of the great fighter Fernando Vargas, one of the sons of the great fighter Fernando Vargas, you know, who had some good fights with Oscar De La Hoya and some others, right? There's three of them, right? There's Emiliano Vargas, Fernando Vargas Jr., and Armado, right? We saw Emiliano, who a lot of us believe, including myself, is the best. I believe Emiliano has the most potential, has the highest ceiling, and he definitely looked good against his last opponent, but he got him out of there in the first round. So it's not really much to take away. I think I speak for everybody when we saw the guy's name. I think we collectively said this.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that?
And that's okay. And that's okay because he's a young fighter, right? That's what he's supposed to do, right? The majority of the guys we've seen for another young fighter, Abdullah Mason, another top ranked guy, we also say the same thing. Who the freak is that guy? You know, we recognize his last two opponents, I believe. But the majority of the time, when you're on the up and up, we're not going to recognize your opponents, and that's okay. But it's important that you take care of business, and that's what he did. However, as far as me knowing what he's going to do in the future or how good he is, it still doesn't do anything, right? Because, like I said, he's handling business. At least he's not struggling with guys that we don't know, but he's handling business against guys that that he set up to look good, and he is looking good. So he's handling business, but it just there's not much to take away, you know, from that victory. So we could move on to Bruce Shushu Carrington. I do look forward to Emiliano Vargas. He did say this though. I remember he was saying that you know, he acknowledged the little rivalry, whether it's fake or real, you know, say legitimate or just hoopla, is the little rivalry they have with the Davis brothers, right? Because there's Keyshawn Davis, the one who has the most potential and doing the best right now. You have Keon Davis and Kelvin Davis, and you have Armado Vargas, Fernando Jr., and then Emiliano. He acknowledges that he'll fight Keyshawn Davis to take care of him when the time is right. Like I said, I think they're just playing around and playing into it. I don't ever see Emiliano Vargas and Keyshawn Davis fighting. Would that be a good fight? Yeah. But the more realistic fight, I think, was not with the one of the Davis brothers. Would be like Emiliano Vargas and Abdullah Mason. I think that's more realistic. Because even if the Davis brothers fought the Vargas brothers, I don't think Keyshawn would fight Emiliano. Even though I think those two are the best, I think that, you know, Keon, the youngest one, would probably fight Emiliano, with Keyshawn probably fighting Fernando or maybe Armado. I don't know how it would go exactly, but I don't think that they would clash, even though I think those two are the best respectively right now out of the siblings. So let's move on to the next fight. We have Shushu Carrington. Before we go forward, I thought that was interesting with Emiliano Vargas, but I'm not really too big on that fight. I want to see Keyshawn fight some other people, and I want to see Emiliano Vargas fight some other people. So, but if they fought each other, hey, that's an easy fight to facilitate. They're both on Top Rank. Bob Arum, same promoter. Let's get it if we can, man. Andy Cruz versus Emiliano Vargas, a great prospect fight. That's a good fight too. But even then, I don't really like that fight, man. You know, I wouldn't be mad at it, you know, but I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't really like that fight, man. I think they could both build some more, and, you know, they're young fighters. So I think that even Abdullah Mason, Andy Cruz, let them go down their own path. Emiliano Vargas, Andy Cruz, Abdullah Mason, you know, of course, Andy Cruz being the older out of them, even though he has the least amount of professional fights, he does have the most experience stemming from the amateur background and stuff like that. But I'd like to see him come up and then maybe see him clash when they're more established. All of them, you know, Emiliano, Abdullah Mason, Andy Cruz, all of them, man. I don't think there's any rush to make these young prospects fight each other. But hey, man, we might get that sooner or later. Oscar in that Dana White TKO league, right? That's the whole point. So we'll see. That's the premise of that. So we'll see how it goes, man. He said, now let's get to Shushu, man. Shushu, he looked good against Enrique Vivas. But, you know, I think it's similar to Emiliano Vargas, right? Not similar in position, right? Because Shushu Carrington, he's in position to call out the champions, which is what he did. Primarily, he called out Stephen Fulton, WBC champion at 126, and he called out Nick Ball, who's a WBA champion at 126. WBA or WO? WBA. And then he didn't really mention Angelo Leo, but he said he'll fight him, who's the IBF champion. He didn't really stay too much time on Angelo Leo. He didn't really address Espinosa until Espinosa was asked. The WBO champion Espinosa. They asked him about Espinosa. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'll chop that tree down. I'll fight him." But he said for whatever reason, he keeps repeating this, right? He repeated it again. He said that Espinosa has made it clear that he doesn't want to fight Shushu. And he did make it also. He also said that he's not saying that Espinosa's ducking him. He just said that for whatever reason they don't want to fight him. He said, "I don't really want to answer those questions anymore." I saw that in the interview. He's like, "I don't want to ask him and let me know what he says." But he says that people don't want them to fight. Maybe he's just not in his plans. He wasn't saying that he was ducking him, but he's just saying he's making it clear that he's not ducking any of the champions. And to be very clear, like I said, Shushu looked good against Enrique Vivas. I believe he was the first person to stop Vivas, so that's always a good thing. But similar to Emiliano Vargas, I don't know if this moves the needle as far as who do I think he could beat now. I pretty much think that he could still beat the same guys he could beat, like anybody that's a contender level and under. But the guys that are like top dogs and champions, I'm not sure if he beats them. Stephen Fulton, I would favor Stephen Fulton in that fight. Bruce Shushu Carrington versus Angelo Leo, I would slightly lean towards Angelo Leo, but I think that's a good fight. But I'll still lean towards Angelo Leo. Espinosa, I think he's the best in the division. I would lean towards Espinosa. Nick Ball, I would have to see how how Bruce Shushu Carrington can handle Nick Ball's roughhousing, right? Because he's gonna get rough, and if Bruce Shushu Carrington is looking like he's okay and not drained at that weight, then I think he'll do fine against Nick Ball. But if he's somewhat drained and can't really make 126 comfortably, then I think he'll struggle. But Nick Ball is the one that I think that he can beat, and he said he wants a chance. So hopefully he gets that because he deserves it. But however, the reason why I say he's like Emiliano Vargas is just because he beat a guy who he's supposed to beat, in my opinion. So it doesn't really change. I have the same feeling that I had for him going into this fight coming out of it. But I will say that he did re-galvanize me, maybe like, okay, bet, he did look good. So maybe those other fights were just, maybe he had some other stuff going on. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I still don't think he beats Fulton with that performance. I still don't think he beats Espinosa with that performance. And I still have the same feeling about him and Angelo Leo being almost a 50-50, slightly lean towards Angelo Leo, in favor of Angelo Leo, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. And then Nick Ball, I think that that's the one that he could beat if he's going to beat anybody. It just didn't really move the needle as far as me thinking, okay, bet. Oh, he dominated Enrique Vivas, which was a good fight. It's not like, oh yeah, man, I think he's going to definitely beat the champions now. I just don't have that feeling. Oscar said, Shushu did his thing, sadly, until proven otherwise. He reminds me of Boatsi, where he kills lower opposition. I don't know about championship aspirations at 126. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I mean, he deserves it, though. At the end of the day, he did look good, and he deserves a champion spot, a champion shot, right? That's why he's at the position that he's in. That's why he's at the rankings that he's in. He's ranked like top 5 in all the sanctioned bodies, but I think he's ranked number 1 in 2 of them. So he definitely deserves a title shot. Hopefully he gets that. Now, whether he sinks or swims, that's up to him, so we'll see how that goes, man. So I like the fact that he's calling out the champions. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And last night he performed how he was supposed to perform. He looked very good against Enrique Vivas. Like I said, I got to give him credit for being the first to stop somebody. Just like I give Terrence Crawford credit for being the first and the only person to still, to this day, stop Jose Benavidez Jr., who's another formidable fighter. So Vivas is definitely a formidable fighter, and Shushu had his way with him last night. So that's good. Got him out of there early. And you can see him thinking in the ring, too. That's what I like, too. I got to give Shushu that credit. He was thinking in the ring. He was setting up shots. He wasn't just trading. He wasn't just throwing just to throw. He was trying to set up counter shots. I thought personally that he was taking some shots, but at the end of the day, he had his plan that he executed, and I just wonder if he could take those kind of shots and have that kind of game plan against like a Nick Ball, because Nick Ball, I would assume, has a little bit more pop than Enrique Vivas. Not certain, but I would assume he has a little more pop. But not only that, is like he tries to overwhelm you. But I think that's the way you beat Nick Ball, is the fact that you do line him up. That's why I think Naoya Inoue could beat him, because I think that Nick Ball, just, no disrespect, but I think he gets a little reckless and he just fights like he's in a bar fight. He just tries to out strength you, strong arm you, and just throw his muscle around. Like a wrecking ball. And I think that if you could be calculated, then I think that would be Nick Ball's worst nightmare. But at the same time, Ray Ford, who claimed he was drained a little bit. I'm not trying to hear that. You decided to stay at 126 too long. That's your business. But Ray Ford, I thought he was going to be able to pick him apart. And he did in spots, but he just, he got overwhelmed. And that's how Nick Ball fights. So if you get overwhelmed, man, you're gonna be in trouble. So we'll see how that goes with Shushu. But Shushu definitely looked good. I just don't know how much I believe that he could beat the other champions, with that still, because the other champions at 126 are very good. Or the champions, and we'll see Angelo Leo. I can't remember what date he's fighting. He's fighting Tomoki Kameda soon, so we'll see him back in the ring. And we obviously going to see Rafael Espinosa, the champion, in the ring. He's on the undercard of Nai Inoue versus Ramon Cardina, so we're going to see him. And I believe he's fighting the guy. I think he's fighting Edward Vasquez or Edward Nunez. I think Edward Vasquez is who Espinosa's fighting. And then Stephen Fulton, I was watching a couple of interviews, and apparently he's in talks with O'Shaquie Foster. O'Shaquie Foster is a champion at 130. So I don't even quite understand that. Like, Stephen Fulton just got to 126 2 fights ago. All right. Because his first fight at 126, if I'm not mistaken, was against Carlos Castro, right? Where he got rocked. Where he got dropped, actually. And then his second fight was a championship fight against Brandon Figueroa. That was a rematch, right? So they're talking about maybe having a fight with what's his name? Talk about maybe having a fight with the champion at 130, which is O'Shaquie Foster. And I'm not mad at that fight. I think that'd be a good fight. But I don't really understand the point of that, unless he can't make weight at 126 already. It's like, dang, you don't want to unify or something like that. But hey, to each his own, man. Maybe O'Shaquie Foster's a big money fight. I don't know. It'll be cool, but I don't know about that, man. Shock versus Fulton. I think that's a good fight, but I'd much rather see Fulton try to fight a contender in 126 or potentially unify. You know what I'm saying? Rafael Espinosa is going to fight Edward Vasquez. Angelo Leo satisfying his mandatory obligation with the IBF by fighting Tomoki Kameda. And then what was the other guy? Nick Ball. He just fought TJ Dohinki, which was trash. You don't get no credit for pulling up a guy coming off of a stoppage loss and then beating him. So that and he didn't even look good either. The fight was trash and his performance was trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
So I think Nick Ball is the one out there looking like food. But that's just my personal opinion, man. So let's move on from the featherweight division. Let's go to a smaller division, in the minimal weight division. And shout out to Oscar Collazo, man. Oscar Collazo, he did his thing. He doesn't really get too much attention, of course, because he's at 105, right? He's at 105, which is the minimum weight. And so, but he did good, man. Puerto Rican fighter. He fought Edwin Cano, I believe is the Mexican fighter. And he defended his Ring Magazine belt. He defended his WBO belt and a WBA belt, right? Because he's unified down there. He became unified when he stopped CP Knockout Freshmart in his last fight to get his WBA title. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's unified. And he defended his Ring Magazine belt. And yeah, man, he just looks good, man. I think that he has to be the favorite at 105 to get undisputed. And the reason why I say that is because the current WBC champion, Melvin Jerusalem, Oscar Collazo already beat him. And then the other guy, Pedro Taduran, who's the IBF champion, he already has 4 losses. There's nothing wrong with having losses, but if you already have 4 losses, 4 of them things, and then the other guy who's a WBC champion, Melvin Jerusalem, Oscar Collazo already beat him. I think if you're Oscar Collazo, man, you're sitting pretty good. Like, you're pretty confident you could get undisputed. So that'd be fire, man. I think that if he could get undisputed at 105, he should definitely crack the top 10 in pound for pound. Because that'd be dope. That'd be dope. Now, I know we don't look at the smaller weight divisions like that. So unfortunately for him, I think if anything short of undisputed, I don't think he belongs on pound for pound list. Because like I said, the champion that he just beat when he got the belt for the WBA was Pedro Taduran, right? No. The guy that he beat was Knockout CP Freshmart. That was cool to unify the belts, WBO, WBA. And the guy that's the current champion is Melvin Jerusalem. He already beat for the WBC. So he just got to beat him again to get that belt. And then the other guy, Melvin Jerusalem, has Pedro Taduran, who's an IBF champion, already has 4 losses. So, you just have to do a lot more when you're in the smaller division. And it's just something, it's just the truth, It may not be fair, but it's the truth. And to be fair as well, they have to do a little less when it comes to moving up, because a lot of times the separation between a whole division is 2 or 3 pounds. Like from 105, the next weight division is 108. That's 3 pounds. The next division above that is 112. And the next division above that is 115. So it's a smaller weight disparity. So, naturally it comes with less attention. Plus, people don't really like to see the smaller guys. And the women go through it too. A lot of times people overlook the women. So shout out to them for being a headline. We got 2 cents in the building. What's good, 2 cents? I said that's a little bitty dude. You feel me? I'll pick up a little bitty bitch. Get your ass up off me. 105. Never think a man can make that weight. Round 1. What's good? He said, hey, man, they little, man. You know, shout out to, they be fighting though. Hey, Oscar Collazo, I'm not gonna lie. Oscar Collazo, skill wise, he's like, when you see him fight, you can see the skill gap. You know, even though I don't like this saying though. I think people over exaggerate this when they say, oh, the little guys, you know, that's really fundamental boxing. No, it's not. Sometimes they just be in there just throwing hands. I'm not gonna lie to you. They don't even be looking. They don't even be having their eyes open. They just be, you know, sometimes. But sometimes, like Oscar Collazo, you'll get the ones that are slick and they have some boxing acumen and boxing skill. You can really see that sets them apart from the rest of the competition. But I think it's an extreme and overused statement to say that and I think it's inaccurate that the smaller weight divisions are somehow better boxers than the bigger weight divisions. I think that's a nasty exaggeration that people just use because they don't really watch the lower weight divisions, and when they watch the lower weight divisions, they're usually watching the top guy, so of course he's gonna look more, you know, more polished and refined than everybody else because he's the top guy. You know, it's like any top guy is going to look more refined, right? I mean, some of the stuff that Terrence Crawford does is amazing. That's not indicative of every single guy at 147 pounds or 154 pounds. That's just the best guy. You feel me? And stuff that Clarissa Shields does is amazing. That's not indicative of every single woman that's in her divisions. No, they're the top folks. So I really get annoyed by people who say, oh yeah, the lower weight division they really be showing off the technicalities of the sport. Not really. You know, I mean, they have some ones that are definitely above the others, but it's not like, oh yeah, you smaller weight, so you just a beast when it comes to boxing skill. Yo, Mike in the building. What's good, brethren? Salutations. Oscar Collazo had a hell of a performance. Yep, no mind. The guy was getting up and it looked like he got hit and dropped himself and lay on his back. Oh yeah. Oscar Collazo, yeah, the Edwin Cano, man, when he hit him with like a body shot, you know, it dug right to his body and he fell over, you know, and then like he didn't fall right away, like you said. He like, it was like a delayed reaction, but that's how the body shots do, you know. And so shout out to Edwin Cano, man. He tried. He tried, but Oscar Collazo looked great, man. I ain't gonna lie, I really like Oscar Collazo. Free Smoke said dude got outlanded by 200 punches, but Bubba said he won. I don't know what you talking about Tevin Farmer. We not there yet, but yeah, that was crazy. GM, big member in the building. Wagwan, Bregger, Wagwan. Two said mod me up. Hey, ain't no problem. Hey, I gotta see you around here more now, 2 cents. You know what I'm talking about? Damn, MMA lowest weight division. I definitely need some more women representation. So yeah, for sure. If you're gonna be around, I'll definitely mod you up. Yo, Boys Who Cry, what's good, brethren? He said Shushu fighting tough competition back to back. Ooh, I don't know about that, boys. I like Shushu. We just got done talking about Shushu. That might be a little stretch, Boys Who Cry out. You know, Shushu, he did his thing against Enrique Vivas. Big salute to Shushu. He was the first person to stop Enrique Vivas. I think that was Vivas' 3rd loss or 4th loss. So that's good. You know, he's a formidable fighter, but I can't say Dana Coolwell was a tough guy. You know, and I can't say Suleiman Sagawa was a tough guy. You know, top 10 contender. He didn't look that great. But I can't say Dana Coolwell, or the guy before that was who? DeGracia or Bernardo Torres. Either way, whether that was before Dana Coolwell. No. So his last 4 opponents go, if I'm not mistaken, Bernardo Torres, DeGracia, Suleiman Sagawa, who was a top 10 guy, Dana Coolwell, and then now Enrique Vivas. Enrique Vivas tough, and Suleiman Sagawa tough. Dana Coolwell, Bernardo Torres, and DeGracia. I'm not going. Yo, Ryan Frazier, boxing talk up north. Big North in the building. Isla in the building. He said, hey, Doc, was there a controversy of the referee touching the women's fighter's boobs? Oh, I didn't see that. I don't know, man. Hopefully he was trying to grab a titty. Oh, Lord. Round 1. What's good, bro? I want to see B. Norman Jr. versus Bars. I like to see that, too. I don't know if he was trying to... No, that's messed up if he was. I didn't hear about that. I didn't notice it. You know, who fought yesterday? The women fighter was the main event was Sandy Ryan and Mikaela Mayer, right, for their rematch. And then we also saw Yokatsa Valle versus Marlon Esparza. That was a good fight. I didn't catch that whole fight, so maybe there was some fondling going on in that one. So I didn't catch that whole fight, but I didn't notice it in Mikaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan. I'm not gonna. Hey, maybe the ref was trying to cop a feel. I'm not gonna say yes or no. I just didn't notice it. That's crazy though. He needs to. If that's true, then you know, not if it's true, like undoubtedly true. You know, not just somebody just being extra and being thirsty because he accidentally did it. But if he's over there intentionally you can't be rubbing down nobody. You can't be rubbing nobody down like that, you know. But yeah, man. So yeah, I think Oscar Collazo looked very good. He said that was fake news. Oh, okay. I think Oscar Collazo looked very good, man, and I'm gonna keep my eye on him, man. Try to keep giving the attention to these smaller weight divisions and see how it goes. Man. I think it'll be good. So I think he can get I definitely think he could get undisputed though, like I said, because the other guy, one of the champions, he has 2 belts. He has the WBO and the WBA. And then the WBC belt holder is Melvin Jerusalem. He already beat him. And then the IBF belt holder, Pedro Calderon, already lost 4 times. They're both Filipino, though. Both of the champions are Filipino, outside of Oscar Collazo, of course. So, shout out to them, too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Filipino fighters, you know. Shout out to all the fighters. American fighters, Filipino fighters, Mexican fighters, Japanese fighters, Nigerian fighters. You feel me? All the fighters, man. But yeah, I think Oscar Collazo is going to look good, man. And we're going to keep looking for him. And I think that people are going to make an argument of him being on the pound for pound list. And I think he deserves that. But these are the smaller weights, man. People don't, unfortunately, no one really pays attention to them. And that works in their favor too. Because sometimes when you don't pay attention to them, you see that you overlook that a lot of them be fighting each other and they don't, you know what I'm saying? You overlook some things that would be under a microscope for the higher profile fighters, you know, like they'll get picked on more when there's a close fight or somebody doesn't look as good. So it's a give and take, you know, less popularity, less eyes on you, so you can get away with more, I think. But yeah, let's move on to the Brian Norman Jr., man. Brian Norman Jr. I will say this. Oh, wait. Isla had something to say about the smaller weight. He said, Collazo and Jerusalem won. Maybe we're going to have a rematch. Calderon has promotional issues right now. I think fight postponed. Yeah. He's at the IBF, right? Pedro Calderon's with the IBF. They'll get through that, though. And then Collazo and Jerusalem, yeah. Melvin Jerusalem. I mean, Collazo just going to beat him. I mean, I have no reason. Like I said, I'll watch some more Melvin Jerusalem. I need to do more of my research, but there's no reason why I would believe that he would do good against Collazo the second time. So I mean, like I said, if I'm Collazo, I'm feeling very confident in my ability to snag undisputed title at 105 minimum weight. You know what I'm talking about? That's just me. You know, my pound for pound list just because I ain't putting Shakur on that motherfucker. Yo, GM out here. Hey, GM, bro, pull out them GTD chains, man. He said he ain't putting Shakur on there, man. Pull out them GTD chains, man. Yo, you already know 2 cents. Ain't no pressure. No pressure. Big member in the building, GM. Hey, you flawed. You petty for that. You petty for that, man. Shakur, I'm not mad at somebody not having Shakur on the list, but you got to have a 5, 10 other guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the pound for pound list is, you know, like, a lot of people feel like it's disrespectful to keep a fighter off of it. I think you can have disrespectful intentions, but it's only 10 fighters, bro. You know how many? There's like 17 weight divisions, much less, and we trying to get 10 fighters from each division. That's a compliment, man. If you're on the top pound for pound 10 list, that's a compliment. However, it does get disrespectful because some people will predicate it off of their feelings more so than the merit of the fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, and I'm not picking on Bam Rodriguez. I think he could be on the pound for pound list, like number 10. His potential and his ceiling, I could argue that he has one of the highest ceilings in boxing as one of the young fighters right now. However, having potential and having credentials are 2 different things. Like, he's not, there's no way you can have him as, I seen him as high as number 4 on the pound for pound list. How can you put him on number 4 and he's not even unified at 115, excuse me. And there's 2 other champions in his division, and Fumalady Cafu and Puma Martinez, that are undefeated. You're not even a bona fide man. You're not even the bona fide guy in your division because there's 2 other champions that could make that claim of being the best because they're both undefeated and they're champions as well. So how can you put a guy like that who's never been unified? Or sorry, he's not unified. He's been unified at 112, if I'm not mistaken. But he's not unified right now. How can you put him over? I seen him over Canelo, bro. The face of boxing. Like, are you crazy? I seen him over Beterbiev, a guy who only lost to Bivol and he's been undisputed. I seen him over Tank. Like, you can't tell me what's Bam Rodriguez's high profile fight. Sonny Edwards, that's a good. I think Sonny Edwards is a good win as an undefeated guy, but I'm sorry, Sonny Edwards is not like I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, maybe he might be a Hall of Famer in England, you know, in Manchester pub or something like that. But he's a good fighter. But he's not a Hall of Famer, right? So what are we going off? We going off of potential? That's crazy. Then I mean, if that's the case, then Boots needs to be up there too. Then You feel me? Boots has a lot of potential. Abdullah Mesa has a lot of potential. So I just think there's no knock on Bam Rodriguez. I think Bam Rodriguez will be a future pound for pound one. But to have him, like, you got to think, there's no way I'm putting Bam Rodriguez. Okay, let's just rip off 5 people right now, right? Terrence Crawford, Usyk, Inoue. Those are 3. Number 4, you can have no order, right? Bivol is undisputed right now. You got to have him up there. Canelo has been undisputed. He was the first ever undisputed at 168, and he has an opportunity to reclaim undisputed. That's 5 right there. How the heck can you have Bam Rodriguez over any of those 5 people I just named? Terrence Crawford, nope, hell no. Usyk, nope, hell no. Naia Inoue, nope, hell no. Canelo, nope, hell no. Bivol, nope, hell no. And I'm not putting him over Beterbiev. Beterbiev just lost his undisputed, and the guy that he lost to, he only has 1 loss, was a guy who's undisputed right now in Bivol. So I'm not putting him over him either. I'm not putting him over Gervonta either, because people are so mad at Gervonta. That's a testament to your greatness, because people are talking so much trash about Gervonta, and he didn't even lose. It was a draw. So that's how dominant you are when they don't even think that you can have a close fight. On one hand, we'll say styles make fights, but then another hand, when we don't like a certain fighter, if they have a tough fight with anybody, like Terrence Crawford moving up to 154 in his debut against an undefeated champion in Israel Madrimov, no one said he lost, but they said he struggled. I think if you're going to struggle in your debut, I think if you're going to struggle in a fight, I think it would be at a time when you're debuting at a new weight division against an undefeated fighter. But that's how you know you're great, because they don't even expect you to struggle with folks. So I think the same thing that Tank, same boat that he's in. Don't get me wrong, Lamont Roach had a great fight, a great show of himself, a great representation of himself and his skills. But let's not get carried away. It was a draw. Now, if you want to argue and get mad at the referee, Steve Willis, who definitely messed up, right? That should have been a knockdown. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I rock with Tank, but the rules are the rules, and I like boxing. I don't like any individual boxer more than I like the sport of boxing. You know, so that was a blunder, but that's not Tank's fault. Since when is it LeBron's a responsibility to call a foul on himself? Since when is it Giannis's responsibility to call a travel on himself? Since when did Floyd say that, oh yeah, my glove touched the canvas against Zab Judah? We don't tell Floyd to say that. We don't tell Zhang when Zhang got knocked down by Ajit Kabayel on that great February 22nd card of Riyadh season, when Ajit Kabayel dropped him and the referee missed that knockdown. We don't say, oh, Zhang cheated. We just say, no, the referee missed the knockdown. Right? So we see these things happen in boxing before, and I never seen a boxer get blamed for a missed call. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I kind of got sidetracked. But yeah, what I was saying is that the pound for pound list, obviously it's subjective, right? But you got to be able to have some sense of objectivity and be like, okay, bet, you know, I might like Bam Rodriguez a lot. I may like Junto Nakatani a lot. I might like Gervonta Tank Davis a lot. But you cannot put these guys 1, 2, or 3. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no way I could put, as much as I like Gervonta, there's no way I could put him over Usyk, Bud, or Inoue. I mean, that's like, these guys are undefeated and 2 times undisputed. What are we talking about? So you got to have some type of objectivity. You feel me? You don't get to 5 beating up Austin Powers. You feel me? You feel me, GM? How many weight classes Bam fought in? I think he fought in, ooh, that's a good one. Did he start at minimum? I want to say 3 for sure. 108, 112, and 115. But I'm not sure. You know, when you start off with the smaller weights, you know, like I said, a lot of them run together. They don't like Canelo. That's why, right? You know, the face of boxing, man. They don't like me. That's the thing too. You know what I mean? And let's be fair too, GM. It goes both ways, right? Because, you know, Canelo and Tank are my 2 favorite fighters. Junto Nakatani is my 3rd favorite fighter, right now. But I like a lot of fighters. I like Bud a lot. I like Usyk a lot. I like Caleb Plant a lot. I like no, hey, plug your ears, GM. I like Shakur. I like there's a lot of fighters I like, man. I like Zerto Ramirez, Gilberto Ramirez. I like a lot of fighters, but my top 3 is Canelo, Tank, and Junto, right? But even with that being said, you know, there's some ridiculous Tank fans now. We ain't gonna act. But there's also some ridiculous Canelo fans. There's also some ridiculous Shakur fans. There's also some ridiculous Ja Bataya fans. Oh my gosh. There's also some ridiculous fans of all sides. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But you just got to be, you know, I've seen Ryan Garcia on top 10 pound for pound. How the hell Ryan Garcia on top 10 pound for pound? Like, stop it, man. Like, it just gets ridiculous. Like, what about Daniel Dubois? What about Ja Bataya? What about Zerto Ramirez, unified at cruiserweight? Now, what about, there's so many, you keep arguing Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. He doesn't have a loss. It's a no contest, no matter how much you don't care about Austria. Suddenly, we don't care about PEDs, you know, but he could be on there, too. There's so many fighters. Like Junto Nakatani could be on there, too, you know, so. But Bam is, I wouldn't be mad at Bam being number 10 or 9 or something like that. But number 4, 5, or 6 is ridiculous. I ain't never seen a boxer call it top. Yo, Ryan, get out, bro. Nah, we about to toss Ryan up out of here, man. Nah, Ryan in here trolling, chat. Yeah, not too much of that, man. Don't make me pull out my GTD chain out, man. Don't make me pull out my GTD chain now. I had Bud, Usyk, and Inoue judging that number one. Talk to him. Yeah, bro. Bro, that's the thing, round one. They're interchangeable. Why are they interchangeable? Because Bud, Usyk, and Inoue, they're all three of them are phenomenal, all-time greats, legendary fighters already. They could retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame, right? That's a fact. And the thing that they have, what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that they have in common, I don't know why I could think of common. The thing that they have in common is the fact that they're all undefeated, and they've all been undisputed twice in 2 different weight divisions. Now, we gonna get there. We gonna get to hey, remind me about that round one. But yeah, if you have Usyk number 1, Bud number 2, Inoue number 3, Inoue number 1, Bud number 3, Usyk number 2, or Bud number 1, Usyk number 2, it doesn't matter. They're interchangeable. They're very similar. In my personal opinion, I think that Usyk is number 1, Bud is number 2, but sometimes I flip flop and I go Bud in number 1 and Usyk number 2, but I always got Naya Inoue number 3 behind them because I like Naya Inoue, but like I said earlier, with the smaller weight divisions, you don't get critiqued as hard because people talk about Terrence Crawford and, oh, he only fought Errol Spence. It's like, bro, you don't really watch boxing because there's no way that you could tell me that you could rip off more names on Naya Inoue's resume from a personnel standpoint than you can from Bud's. You're a freaking liar. You can recognize more names on Bud's resume than you can on Inoue's. Matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. You recognize more names on Bud's resume than you will on Usyk and Inoue's combined. Yet all you hear is Bud disrespect, but you don't hear no Inoue or Usyk disrespect. And to double down, people always talk about Terrence Crawford only fighting so sporadically, right? Only fighting once a year. He has 41 fights. How many does Usyk have? Less than Bud. How many does Inoue have? The most active fighter, right? That's why we love him, because he's so active. And I like him too because he's active. And he is younger than Bud. But how many fights does he have? He has less than Bud. So a lot of times when people give these criticisms, if you really scratch below the surface, you'll see that it's nonsensical at best. Everybody talks about Terrence Crawford and his lack of fights. Even with his lack of fights, he does fight 1 time a year. Whatever. He still has more fights than Usyk and Inoue. And he has more recognizable names on his resume than Usyk and Inoue. Because I guarantee that the average person cannot tell me 2 people that Usyk beat to claim undisputed at cruiserweight. Usyk is popular because of his exceptional run at heavyweight, not because of his run at cruiserweight. So when people say, oh yeah, well, Terrence Crawford beat up a weak Spence, that might be true, but that Spence that he beat was for 1 undisputed at 147. What about his undisputed run at 140? What about what he did in order to get that fight and before to get the fight with Spence? So I'm a Spence guy, you know what I'm saying? But I never feel compelled to pick sides. I thought Spence was going to win that fight. But I did recognize that Spence was also, I ain't going to say a shell of himself, but he wasn't 100%. But still, I don't say that to take away credit from Bud, because I don't think anybody would whoop on Spence like that the way Bud did. That was crazy, And then also Errol Spence coming out of a car accident, he was still good enough to beat a champion like Danny Swift Garcia and your Dennis Ugas and stuff like that. So especially with Ugas coming off of the Pacquiao win and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's just me. TJ Dohinky called timeout with Inoue. Talk to him, Oscar. That's not what BoxRec said. That's crazy. I seen Tank call a timeout before Roach. Tank is put Pat Mahomes, bro. Get over it. You feel me? Bud took credit from him. Which fight he called a timeout in. Bro, that's the thing. Like I said, Ryan is trolling. But that's a good point. A timeout. He didn't call a timeout, bro. It was a missed call by the referee, dog. So if you want to say it like that, then we did see a fighter call a timeout. I just gave you one, Ajit Caballero and Zele Zhang. Zele Zhang called a timeout. You ain't see when he got hit and he bent over and then the referee stopped and then he told him to keep going again. You don't remember that? Conveniently, right? You know what I'm saying? So if you want to say it like that, I could name you plenty of times where fighters call timeouts. If you want to say that a timeout is when a referee misses a call. Come on, man. Stop it, man. It's just that Tank is a big name and people like to hate him. So, and people like to love him too. It's not just one, it's both sides, because some of his fans are crazy too. I'm a Tank fan for sure. But then we gonna get there, man. Y'all not gonna be off track, man. Let's keep going with the fantastic fights last night. Let's go to Brian Norman Jr., man. We gonna double back on the Terrence Crawford stuff. We gonna double back on the Terrence Crawford stuff and Tank stuff, because this is a good conversation. But let's hop into this Brian Norman Jr., man. Brian Norman Jr. went crazy at 147 in his defense, his first title defense, by the way. A lot of people are mad that he didn't get an immediate unification. But this is another thing that I'm talking about, and I'm not trying to justify any avoidance of a fight, because I know a lot of people said, he should have fought Boots Ennis in his first defense. So I recognize that people want to say that he avoided Boots, but I'm like, bro, just slow down. The man is 24. That was his first 12-round fight when he obtained the interim belt from Giovanni Santillan. Remember, he was a severe underdog, and what's indicative of him being the underdog, he went to San Diego. Who the heck fights in San Diego? But that's Giovanni Santillan's hometown. He went in enemy territory, you know what I'm saying, and beat the champion as an underdog. That was his first 12-round fight. So when we want to rush these fighters, it's like, I'm not saying I don't want to see the best fight the other guys that are the best and girls that are the best, but at the same time, it's imperative for these young fighters to progress accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Brian Norman Jr., that was his first defense against Derrieck Cuevas. How many fighters do you know have a unification as their first defense? I'll wait. You see what Nick Ball had in his defenses. He fought Ronnie Rios, and he brought up TJ Doheny, who just got stopped at a lower weight division. No one said nothing about that, though. Oh, but let Tank bring up somebody. It's a problem when he brought up Lamont Roach, and Lamont Roach is a champion coming off of a stoppage win, not a stoppage loss. You see, but it's what that's what I said. Like, when you're at lower weight divisions, you get away with stuff like that because people don't pay attention as much. A lot of these things that we see in boxing and in life, it's not new. It's just that we didn't pay attention before. You know, like they say, history repeats itself, man. So Nick Ball brought up TJ Doheny. A lot of times people bring up people for defenses, you know. So it is what it is. Not saying it's right, but don't act like it's brand new when like certain fighters are just doing it because you're paying attention just to hate on them or something like that. So it's a natural, it's a reoccurring theme, you know. But Brian Norman, man, he fought Derrieck Cuevas, who's ranked number 13, I believe, for his first voluntary defense, and I liked it, man. Derrieck Cuevas looked good in that first round. It only lasted 3 rounds. Brian Norman Jr. did his thing. He told Derrieck Cuevas that he didn't have enough, and he was right. He caught Derrieck Cuevas with a nice, I believe it was a right hook into a left straight. It was a mean jab too. That was a stiff Klitschko jab, and he put him out, man. A lot of people saying Derrieck Cuevas quit. It looked like he quit. I ain't gonna lie. Last night I tried to give him an out, but people were on my head top during the live stream. They're like, "Hey, Doc, he quit, man." So I'm gonna say that he quit. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna say that he quit. I'm not gonna fight people who claim that he quit. But I would just say sometimes, man, hey, man, that fighting ain't no joke. You know, I've only been an amateur boxer. I ain't never quit. But, you know, sometimes you get hit a little hard, make you reconsider some things. But he did look like he was reconsidering some things and making sure that check clear to say, I ain't want no more of that pressure. But he did rock. He did rock Brian Norman in that first round. And shout out to Brian Norman. He was capping. He said that they asked him about it. And he was like, oh, yeah, nah, I didn't get hurt. Nah, bro, you got, you know what I'm saying? Them legs look a little stanky. You know what I'm saying? You about to do the stanky leg in that first round. And but he got back with it, right? So I think it's more of a compliment than anything. You know, I think that's something that we should celebrate. The fact that he pushed through adversity, the fact that he showed that he has quick recoverability, and he still came back and got a dominant win. You know, it's so funny because I know I've seen some people say that, oh, you know, he got rocked by Derrieck Cuevas, ranked number 13. Well, you know, Naoya Inoue got dropped by Luis Nery, who got stopped by Brandon Figueroa. Who got beat by Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton's the guy that Naoya Inoue beat up, right? But Luis Nery dropped Naoya Inoue. What did we do? We celebrated the fact that Naoya Inoue showed that he has some cojones and he has some mental fortitude and he's able to stay locked into the fight and he's able to recover. He's able to recover and still get a dominant win. But when another fighter does it that we don't like or we don't care for, all of a sudden it's a negative. So of course, if you're Jerron Boots Ennis, if you're a Montes Stanionis, if you're Mario Barrios, you're taking notes about, okay, bet if I touch that chin, I can get him hurt. You know what I'm saying? So of course, you're a competitor, take some notes, and that was a vulnerability, of course. But if you're a fan, in my opinion, it's like, bro, you can't applaud one guy for recovering from getting touched up and having a dominant win, but then you fault the other guy for doing the same thing. And then lesser, you know, at least he didn't get dropped. You know, he kept his composure, he recovered, and he got a dominant stoppage win, man. And like I want to say too, Derrieck Cuevas is not a small puncher by any means. I think he has like a 70% KO ratio. So he's not pillow fisted or, you know. So, and he was looking sharp, man. He was looking sharp, looking quick, looking real comfortable in that first round. It's just Brian Norman, you know, he bit down on his gum shield like our English brethren and sister say. And he looked good, man. I thought it was a solid performance. Now I will say this though, with Brian Norman winning like that in that fashion, it does give me some confidence that he could do good against the other fighters. Like I've always said, I always thought Brian Norman and Stanionis would be a good fight for unification. I think Norman and Barrios would be a good fight. I think Boots and Norman would be the best. In my personal opinion, if I'm gonna rank the 4 champions at welterweight, I would say I would say Boots number 1, Norman number 2. Or 2 or 3, you know, Norman and Stanionis 2 or 3, and I say Barrios number 4. And I don't like saying that because I think Barrios is good. I think all the champions are good, but Barrios sometimes looks a little more vulnerable than the other guys sometimes, you know, and especially in his last fight against Abel Ramos, he looked good at first, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, like if something got in his eye or something was wrong, but he just declined rather rapidly. And it was ended up being an interesting fight. But the first 4 rounds, Mario Barrios was looking sharp. So, but Mario Barrios is definitely the most decorated champion, right? He's been in there with some Hall of Famers. Like, he's been in there with Tank, albeit a loss. He's been in there with Keith one-time Thurman, albeit a loss. And he beat Yordenis Ugas, you know, who beat Pacquiao and stuff like that. So, I think he's the more proven champion. But as far as skills go and potential, I would think Boots number 1, Norman number 2, Stanionis number 3, and Barrios number 4. Triangle theory mostly doesn't work. One example is Floyd going 12 rounds Ricky Hatton, while another dude KO him, a fighter. Floyd totally outclassed Gotti, I believe. I don't think he went the full 12 rounds with Hitman, boys who grab, but that's a good point. That triangle theory with like Floyd, and because a lot of people thought that Pacquiao would beat Floyd because remember Pacquiao beat Ricky Hatton in 2 rounds or 4 rounds, something like that. He beat him with a devastating knockout, right? Floyd, I think he took 10 rounds to beat Ricky Hatton, and it was a stoppage. But, you know, once again, it's styles make fights, bro. Floyd is not going to come out there the way that Pacquiao is, you know. So if you watch the fight with Floyd and Ricky Hatton, you could argue that Floyd was just as dominant as Pacquiao was over Ricky Hatton. It's just that they have different styles of fight. So stylistically, Floyd is not going to blitz you and get you out of there in 2 rounds. Unless he's Pretty Boy Floyd. Even Pretty Boy Floyd wasn't doing that, you know, especially not Money Mayweather. So you got to look at other ways to dominate fighters. I remember one time Ricky Hatton got hit with a check hook so good that Ricky Hatton kept going forward and he hit the freaking turnbuckle head first like a bull. You know what I'm saying? You know, they be our Spanish brethren and sister in Spain when they be doing the matadors and the bulls. He's like a bull in a matador. That's not dominant. If you check hook somebody, another pugilist, you make them run headfirst into a turnbuckle like this WWE, is that not dominant? You feel me? So I agree with you 1,000%, but I do think he stopped him, if I'm not mistaken. I think he stopped him in 10, if I'm not mistaken, boys who cry. He said, well, actually, Barrios' last fight was a Figueroa family. See, now you out here snitching.
All right, I'm putting cases on all you bitches.
Norman about to get Barrios fight next. Hey, I hope so, Ryan. That'd be good. So 2 unifications in the welterweight division, because you know April 12th we have we have Boots and Stanionis, right? And the great thing about that, I don't know if people realize, that's for the Ring Magazine belt as well, because it's a vacant Ring Magazine belt at 147 welterweight. But when you have the number 1 ranked guy in Boots and the number 2 ranked guy in Stanionis for the Ring Magazine, then the Ring Magazine belt is up for grabs. So you have the number 1 and 2 guy ranked in the Ring Magazine by the Ring Magazine rankings at Stanionis or Boots and Stanionis respectively. And so now that belt, that fight is actually unification with the WBA and IBF, but also the Ring Magazine belts up for grabs. So that'd be dope if we could see a unification between the other 2, Barrios and Barrios and Norman, and then get a super unification between the 2 winners of those unifications. That'd be fire, man. So I think that's wishful thinking though, because I think Barrios is looking for a big payday. He deserves, you know what I'm saying? I think all these, we need to normalize stop demonizing these fighters when they go for the bigger fights as far as payday goes. You know, you should enjoy the fruits of your labor, and you know the risk should match the reward. So of course I want to see the unifications, but if Barrios is trying to go for a Pacquiao fight like was been rumored, or a Conor Ben fight, you know, which I don't like anyway, but it is what it is, man. But of course I want to see those unifications, man. Stanionis shouldn't be ranked number 2. Who do you think should be ranked number 2, GM? I'm cool with him being ranked number 2. Who do you think should be ranked number 2? The Barrios? But yeah, man. So Brian Norman, man, he smoked Cuevas. I thought he made a statement. You know, he claims it's the first time that he's been healthy as far as his hands go, you know, which is the most important tool for a boxer is their hands. So, you know, he just had surgery, which is why him and Derrieck Cuevas were postponed from, I think they were supposed to fight November of last year originally, then got postponed to now because Brian Norman had his hand surgery, and he claims that he's been slapping this whole time. So now he has his power back and he feels good. So we're going to see, man. Barrios, hey, I'm not mad at that. I'm cool with Stanionis being number 2, but I'm not mad at Barrios being ranked number 2. So I'm with you on that. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I'm with you on that. I think Barrios, like I said, I like Barrios a lot, but he's been proven. I agree with that. But Stanionis, you know, he's just been because you remember like with that Abel Ramos fight, that was a draw, and then Omari Thomas in the building, big member in the building. Yes, sir. 2 members back to back. 3 members back to back. We got Oscar. We got GM. And we got Omari, man. Big members, man. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man. Really keep us going and growing. But yeah, I think that I think Brian Norman, man, has a good future ahead of him. I'm looking forward to what he has, man. I think he has a lot, bro. So I really want to see if it was up to me. I think Stanionis and Boots is going to be a better fight than what people anticipate. But I do think Boots is going to win. And so I would like to see Boots against Brian Norman, especially if Brian Norman could get the unification with Barrios. If Brian Norman could beat Barrios, I think Brian Norman and Boots will be a great fight, man. I think that'd be a great fight, man. So let's go to the main event, man. The Mikaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan. That was a rematch. I don't know what really to say, man. You know what I'm saying? Mikaela Mayer, you know what I'm talking about? One time for the ladies, you feel me? You know, Mikaela Mayer did her thing, 34 years old, man. Beat the younger Sandy Ryan, 31 years old. You know, they had some beef because Kay Karoma, who's a trainer, Mikaela Mayer felt like he kind of betrayed her. And he felt like Sandy Ryan did some things that were kind of unprofessional and backstabbing in nature. And, you know, I'm rooting for Mikaela Mayer. You know, I don't know the situation. I'm not going to choose sides, not like that. But from the outside looking in, it definitely looks like Mikaela Mayer was done a disservice and done an injustice. So, you know, karma is a B. That's what Mikaela Mayer said. And you know, it seems like all is right in the world. You know, I'm talking about the universe corrected itself. And, you know, she won the first time. This is a rematch. They had the paint gate. And, you know, Mikaela Mayer won again. I thought she won in a more convincing fashion the second time. You know, Sandy Ryan started coming on a little later, but by that time, Mikaela Mayer already solidified the win, in my opinion. I scored it 7-3 in favor of Mikaela Mayer. And I think that because this is Sandy Ryan's 4th loss, right? She had a loss early. I can't remember the young lady's name she lost to, but then she avenged that loss. And then she lost to Mikaela Mayer. And then it might be her third loss, not her 4th loss, excuse me. Might be her 3rd loss. Yeah, she had 1 loss before. She avenged that loss. Shout out to her. And then she lost to Mikaela Mayer, and then she just lost to Mikaela Mayer again. Don't be surprised if Sandy Ryan could leave her trainer, Kay Karoma. You never know. That's how things go sometimes, man. Sometimes you try to be greedy and not even greedy. I'm not calling him greedy. I don't know the brother, but you know, it just doesn't look good. And then not to mention, I don't know if y'all heard about this, but you know, I pay attention to a lot of boxing. I'm not validating this claim. I'm just saying it's out there. There's another female boxer named Jay the Boxer, I believe her name is, and she was kind of popping a little bit on TikTok and YouTube a little bit, and she had some crazy accusations against Kay Karoma. Look into it yourself. I'm not gonna spread that news because I don't know if it's true or not, and that's none of my business. But that was an accusation. Some pretty shady stuff, you know what I'm saying? Worse than shady. So, and then now he's involved with this shady business again. They're unrelated, but you know, the commonality is that, you know, he's in the middle of some other messiness, you know. So maybe this could be something that's indicative of him. And don't be surprised, Sandy Ryan goes for a new trainer, and that'd be crazy, man. But what's even crazier is that Mikaela Mayer, she defended her WBO belt, and Lauren Price, who just beat Natasha Jonas, she has the IBF belt, WBC, and WBA. So Mikaela Mayer could potentially get undisputed at 147, and that would be fire, man. So she's 1 step away from being undisputed. Lauren Price beat Natasha Jonas, and you know, I don't know how much y'all watch women boxing. I watch all boxing, but you know, Mikaela Mayer, in my opinion, was the victim of one of the worst robberies last year. You know, when she fought Natasha Jonas in Liverpool or wherever they were, over there across the pond. I thought that was a terrible robbery. I don't know how Mikaela Mayer lost that fight, you know, but it's not Natasha Jonas's fault that she was the beneficiary of a robbery, but you know, because fighters fight and judges judge. However, I do think that was a bad robbery, and I think that Mikaela Mayer should have got the W. But now she kind of, you know, she wanted the rematch, and now she kind of go past it. If she could beat Lauren Price, if you could beat the girl who beat the person that beat you, in Natasha Jonas, then it's all good. And plus, you can do it for undisputed, man. That'd be fire. So I think that Mikaela Mayer, look forward to Mikaela Mayer versus Lauren Price. Lauren Price already responded to Mikaela Mayer's call out too, so we could potentially get that undisputed fight with Mikaela Mayer. We could potentially get another rematch with Mikaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgartner. You know, Alicia Baumgartner's smaller, though. I think she's at 135 in her last fight. But Mikaela Mayer said that she's willing to meet in the middle at 140 for the rematch. I know a lot of people thought that she got robbed against Alicia Baumgartner. I disagree with that. I think that was a good fight. Could have went either way, but I think Alicia Baumgartner won, in my opinion. I don't think that was a robbery, but she definitely got robbed in her loss to Natasha Jonas. So my point is that if you're Mikaela Mayer, you could feel like both of your losses, you should have won. I disagree with that. Alicia Bumgarner won. I think the right person won. But I definitely agree with her that she got robbed against Natasha Jonas, man. I'm trying to make a 2007 boxing file for this game. Do your thing. Do your thing. You know, Ring got key over Shakur, too. If Tank and Shakur fought, it wouldn't be for the ring. You know, Ring got key over Shakur. No way. They got Keyshawn over Shakur in the Ring magazine? Stop it. I didn't know that. I haven't looked at the rankings. I probably, you know, we talked about it before. You know what? I remember last time I saw the Ring magazine rankings that I looked at it for 135, I saw they had Tank number 1. Number 2, I thought they had Shakur. And number 3, they had Keyshawn. I thought it was disrespectful. No, sorry. Number 3, they had Loma. Number 4, oh wait, was it 2 they had Loma and 3 Shakur? I can't remember, but then I remember it was disrespectful because they had number 4 as Keyshawn, and they had number 5 as Zepeda, and they had number 6 as Baranchyk. Remember, Baranchyk was a champion at this time. This is before he lost to Keyshawn. I was like, how do you have Keyshawn and Zepeda over a champion in Baranchyk? Nah, don't get me wrong. I too think that Zepeda and Keyshawn are better than Baranchyk. I thought Keyshawn would beat Baranchyk. Obviously, I didn't think he was gonna beat him like that because he whooped Baranchyk. But it's still, man, have some respect for the champions, man. So the Ring magazine rankings be kind of funny sometimes, but it is what it is. They're their own thing, right? They do their own thing, so you gotta respect it a little bit. Keyshawn got the better win at 135 than Shakur. Nah, I'm not going for that. You tripping, right? Baranchyk was a good win. It was a dominant win. But yeah, I'm not going. I mean, Baranchyk looked like he was outclassed by weight class. Outclassed. He was in the wrong. I don't know if you remember watching Jesus Ramos or Joey Spencer. How that looked, that's how Keyshawn and Baranchyk looked. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's I mean, of course, because he's a champion. Yeah, you know, that's how he became a champion. But I'm sorry, man. Like Gustavo, I like Keyshawn. I think Keyshawn is legit. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying or conflate what I'm saying. These are two separate statements. I think Keyshawn is legit. I think Keyshawn is a beast. I think he has great potential. I think that Keyshawn has had a very convenient run. I mean, he beat Jose Pedraza, who's a shell of himself. Jose Pedraza is 0-5 in his last 5 fights. Sorry, he's 0-4-1. Meaning he hasn't won any. He had 4 losses and he had 1 draw. That's one of the guys that Keyshawn beat towards 135. That he beat Gustavo Lemos, who looked terrible. He didn't even come in shape. And then he beat Baranchyk, who was severely undersized, right? So we got to look at that too. So I don't know, man. I'm not knocking him. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's looking good. But I think that it might be a little exaggerated how impressive he is when you look at the personnel that he's fighting, you know? I mean, look what Ernesto Mercado just did to Jose Pedraza. It's like, you know, like to me, Jose Pedraza, I say this all the time. I'm going to sound like a broken record. Jose Sniper Pedraza is a beast. He was a beast, excuse me. He's a shell of himself now. You know who else has a bad last 5 fight record? Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber, was a beast. So was Jose Sniper Pedraza. They're not the same anymore. Deontay Wilder's last 5 fights, he won 1 fight and he lost 4. He lost to Zhilei Zhang. He lost to Tyson Fury. He lost to Zhilei Zhang, Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker, somebody else. And then he beat Robert Helenius. I'm missing somebody in there, but yeah. So he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Sniper Pedraza is 0-4-1 in his last 5 fights. They're both great fighters, but they're a shell of themselves now. And I think that anybody fighting them is just a false sense of accomplishment. It's just a resume builder, bro. Like, so shout out to Keyshawn. Like I said, I think he looks great, but I can't say that his wins from a personnel standpoint are that impressive. How he's doing it is impressive. He's making it. He's looking very good doing it. But I mean, you know, I was impressed by him beating Miguel Madueno because I knew that Miguel Madueno is a tough, roughhousing type of fighter, right? He makes it rough. And so Keyshawn looked good and adapted well, but it wasn't like a spectacular win. He looked better against the guys that are supposedly better, you know, Jose Pedraza and Gustavo Lemos and stuff like that, and Baranchyk. So, I mean, I still want to see him against a guy who's young and strong just like he is and see how it goes. So we'll see, though. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. You know, I'm not taking it away from, like I said, Keyshawn is a beast. I think he looks great. But as far as personnel, I can't say that, oh, he beat better guys at 135 than Shakur or Tank. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think he was a champ who Shakur beat. Yeah, that's what I said. He beat a champ. He beat a champ. So what? You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a champ. That's how he got a championship. You feel me? Of course. But Shakur's a champion right now. So it ain't like Shakur's not a champion himself. Go beat if he can beat Tank or Shakur or Loma, then okay. But yeah, he beat Berinchik. Yeah, of course. That's how he became a champ. You're right about that. But is Berinchik that much better than Artem Harutyunyan? I mean, I'm asking. Let's not forget. Now, let's not forget, Ryan. How did Berinchik become a champion? He became a champion by beating Emmanuel Navarrete for a vacant belt, correct? Emmanuel Navarrete came up from 130. So it's so funny to me. You know, it's so funny that people talk so much trash about Tank fighting a guy from a lower division that's a champion in Lamont Peterson. Damn. Lamont Roach. Lamont Peterson, where did that come from? Lamont Peterson is crazy. Shout out to Lamont Peterson, man. Another fighter from the DC area, I believe. Yeah, Lamont Peterson was a good fighter too, man. Fought guys like Errol Spence and stuff like that. But anyway, Lamont Roach was a champion at 130 that Tank fought. Berinchik got his title for beating a champion at 130 for a vacant belt in Emmanuel Navarrete. It's like people don't realize that though. They talking trash about a guy fighting a champion at 130, but then the guy who Keyshawn beat, you know, he got a title for beating a guy that was a champion at 130 for a vacant belt. And Emmanuel Navarrete. So you could argue that Berinchik, there's a reason why he looks so much smaller than Keyshawn, because you know what I'm talking about. So I mean, like I said, I ain't saying that. I'm not knocking Keyshawn, but when you look at the personality he beat, I mean, it could be a little shaky, you know. I can't say that. Oh, he's better. You said Padley not better than Lemos. Bro, Padley was a late replacement. Stop it, bro. Hey, Ryan, you're wilding. You're and the fact that you just compared Joshua Padley was a 4-day replacement, bro. Stop it. He didn't try to fight Padley. I haven't heard from Berinchik since his press conference. What's next for him and Farmer, man? I don't know, man. But yeah, so Mikaela Mayer, man, I think she could get undisputed. Her and Lauren Price, like I said, I like boxing, so I like women's boxing as well. I know everybody's not into that, but I'm looking forward to that, man. I think if Mikaela Mayer can get undisputed on her belt, it's going to be hard to deny her when you talk about like some of the top fighters in the women's division. Of course, we talk about Clarissa Shields. Of course, we talked about Sky Nicholson because she was popular, but a little less merit behind her claims. Of course, we talk about Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. But I think we need to talk more about like female fighters like Mikaela Mayer, Carolyn Dubois, Gabriela Fundora. You know what I'm saying? And this is good. If Mikaela Mayer can get undisputed, Alicia Bumgarner, who was a former undisputed. A lot of people don't even know that. But yeah, it's always good to see more women stars, just like it's always good to see more lower division stars. Like the cruiserweight's popping right now, right? Cruiserweight was an empty division as well when Usyk came up and stuff, but now we got Ja Pataya, we got Zerto Ramirez, you know, Gilberto Ramirez, and then you know, a lot of people are interested in seeing how Badu Jack looks, even though he's older. But like when you get more people that could demand the attention of others and that are polarizing personalities and stuff like that, then it's always good for the sport to keep it healthy, in my opinion. Berinchik is definitely better than Artem. I disagree with that. Artem's a former Olympian, just like Berinchik. I don't think he's better. I don't know why. Why do you think he's better? Why do you? I mean, remember Frank Martin was gonna fight Keyshawn, right? Remember that was not a big fight, but for amongst boxing enthusiasts and purists, that was a pretty interesting fight, right? Artem Harutyunyan only lost to Frank Martin before he lost to Shakur. So Artem Harutyunyan, a former Olympian, just like Berinchik, Artem's losses are Shakur and Frank Martin. Frank that goes Martin. Where's the shame in that? I can't say that Berinchik. I don't think so. So you think Berinchik beats Artem? I don't know about that. I think that's a good fight. I might lean towards Artem. I'm not gonna lie to you. Dude was running yesterday. Eventually got stopped. Believed it was a prospect who fought to sign Jay Prince. Tank is criticized for fighting the great hair. Who said that, bro? I should have known it was Big Dog Willie, man. What up, bro? Big member in the building. He said we gotta measure it up. I bet. Yeah, pull up, man. We gonna measure it up. We gonna measure it up, right? We gonna measure it up, bro. You know that's why we talk, brother. This is why we talk, man. You know what I'm saying? I love chopping it up with you, man. Hear other people's perspectives, you know. It ain't just how when I say go, you know. We gotta talk about things. But yeah, I disagree. I think that Artem is. I don't. If Artem and Berinchik would fight, if I wouldn't put money on it. Let me be very clear. I would not put money on it. But if I had to, I'll put money on Artem. I would. So yeah, so we got Mikaela Mayer winning. I think it'll be dope if she could fight Lauren Price, and whoever wins, let the best woman win. But I'll be rooting for Mikaela Mayer. You know what I'm saying, over Lauren Price. So that'd be dope to establish another undisputed. Now let's move on to the final main event that we talked about this weekend for the weekend review. We have William Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer for the rematch, man. Can his biggest win be, bro? Stop, bro. That's two different ways. Yes, R2B. You don't think R2 beats Navarrete? I mean, maybe I put it too much into the weight divisions, but R2 is a legit 135. He could probably make 140. You're giving Derrieck love for beating a 130-pound guy, but then you knocking Tank for fighting a 130-pound guy. They're both 135-pound fighters. You see what I'm saying? Like, Navarrete's a good win. Don't get me wrong, but Navarrete was a smaller guy. He was moving up to 135 when he fought Derrieck. Wasn't like he was a natural 135-pound guy. I'm gonna be honest. I actually think that Navarrete should fight at 135 because he's a little bigger guy. But he's stylistically, he's the type of fighter that he beats guys like Oscar Valdez because he's bigger than them. You know what I'm saying? At 130. But when he goes to 135, he's not the bigger guy anymore. And I think that was clear against Derrieck. Derrieck didn't like look spectacular in my opinion when he beat Navarrete. I remember that fight like yesterday. You can ask Oscar if Oscar's still in here. I was just like, man, I'm more disappointed in Navarrete because I thought he would be able to adapt. He didn't show me any adaptation. You know, I'm more disappointed in Navarrete's performance than I was impressed by Derrieck's. You see what I'm saying? So no, I don't think Navarrete beats any contender at 135 because I think he loses his advantage and what his game is predicated off mostly, and that advantage is a size advantage. And once he doesn't have that, yes, I think he loses to everybody that's a contender at 135. Absolutely. I'm taking every single person at 135 that's a contender over Navarrete. And I like Navarrete, but you know, he's in the right position where he's supposed to be, 130. Outside of 130, I think he's in trouble. Loma fights up. Cap. Loma's best win is Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux was not fighting up. He brought up Rigondeaux. Tighten up, Ryan. Come on now. But yeah, let's move on to Zepeda beating Farmer, man. Zepeda fought Farmer, and I think Free Smoke was in here talking about that. Shout out to Farmer. Zepeda got a majority decision win the second time. The first time I think it was a split decision. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first time was a split decision win over Farmer. This time was a majority decision. First time he overcame a knockdown to get a split decision. This time, I thought he did his thing, man. I think that he won more convincingly the second time. And a lot of people are like mad saying, you know, Tevin Farmer, he should have got the decision. No, he shouldn't have. He should not have. I'm sorry. I think that anybody who's saying that Tevin Farmer should have got the decision or he was robbed, I don't think you watched the fight. And I think that was total BS.
Bullshit!
So the point that I'm making with this is that when I scored the fight, I gave the first 6 rounds to Zepeda, the second fight. Zepeda came out like a bat out of hell. He always throws a whole bunch of punches. We know that he throws punches and bunches, a high volume puncher. But he came out with more ferocity and fervor the second time around. And Tevin Farmer looked like he was in trouble in the second round. Now, granted, we score every, you know, we do our due diligence. We do what we're supposed to do. We score every fight round by round. So just because you were hurt in the second round, or you look bad in the second round, doesn't mean that has anything to do with how you looked in the 12th round. But I say this is important. I don't think that you could have gave Tevin Farmer any round from 1 through 6. The first round that I gave to Tevin Farmer was round 7. And I even remember I put that was a swing round. It could have went either way. I felt like I was being a bit generous. So the point of me saying that is, if Zepeda undoubtedly won the first 6 rounds, Tevin Farmer, at best, going into the 7th, could get a draw unless he got a knockout. Right? So you're telling me that you don't think Zepeda won any of those rounds between 7 and 12? I think you're crazy. I thought he did win a couple rounds, you know, between then. I scored it 115, 113, which reflects a round card of 7 rounds to 5. But I thought it was a convincing win for Zepeda. It was a close fight still. Like I said, I had it 7 rounds to 5. But it was a convincing win. Like that was an example of a fight being close, but having a clear winner. Tevin Farmer just did not do enough. He could be mad at people. He could be mad, you know. Let me say this first before I go on my tangent. I'm go on my rant. I understand that Tevin Farmer believes that he won. He was involved in a close fight, and of course you think you're gonna win in a close fight. Duh. I'm not mad at the fighter. I think his trainer and his corner are terrible.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Because If he felt like he won, that means his corner did not communicate to him, did not convey to him, did not explain to him that he was down. There's no way that Tevin Farmer should feel like he won that fight, or even feel like, Tevin Farmer could feel like that, but there's no way that his corner could feel like that, or any type of boxing observer could have felt like that. You know, Tevin Farmer threw 679 punches. Zepeda threw 974. Yes, that's damn near 200 more punches. 300 more punches. You cannot win like that, bro. If you're not hurting the other guy, if you're not dropping the other guy, if you're not stopping the other guy, you cannot throw 300 less punches and win the fight. That's just thrown. Now, landed, let me see what I wrote down here. Zepeda outlanded Farmer. He landed 344 punches. Tevin Farmer landed 152. That means that William Zepeda doubled, over double. 152 plus 152 is 304. He landed 344. That's double plus 40. Zepeda outlanded him by double of the punches that Farmer landed, bro. I'm sorry, like there's no way that, in my opinion, that you could feel like Farmer won. And like I said, unless you're Farmer himself who's in the fight, I get it. Just like Oscar De La Hoya when he felt like he beat Floyd Mayweather, I get it. But as an observer, when Tevin Farmer watches this tape, he's gonna realize that he could have did more, bro. He looked like he was in trouble. He wasn't even throwing punches. I remember there was one time during the live show, I literally counted like 20 unanswered punches. I'm talking about Zepeda was just whomping and stomping on this man. He was doing everything but stomping on this man. I had Farmer in here like I was telling him to fight back.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back, nigga, fight back.
Was Tevin Farmer hurt? It looked like it to me, right? But I don't. That's what I will say. I got to give Tevin Farmer his credit too, because a couple of times he looked like he was hurt, and then he'll just bounce right back the next round like he wasn't hurt. I remember one time, I think it was like the third or the fourth round, I thought he was hurt, and then he walked back with his hand up. I said, "Oh, this man Tevin Farmer a beast. He different." So shout out to Tevin Farmer. He was impressive with his durability and his toughness and his resiliency. But he just didn't throw enough, bro. You didn't do enough. Like, so with Tevin Farmer, I understand him being frustrated, but I do not agree at all. I strongly, emphatically disagree that this was a robbery. The Raymond Muratalla fight, I understand that you felt robbed. The first fight was Zepeda. I understand you felt robbed. The second fight though, sorry, so that's 3 fights in a row. His last 3 fights were Raymond Muratalla. I understand you felt robbed. The next fight was the Zepeda first fight. I understand you felt robbed. This second fight with Zepeda, which is your third fight, I don't think that you could feel robbed. Now you just trying to push that narrative that you're getting robbed. You were not robbed this last fight, brother. You just didn't do enough. No way you did enough. Like I just read the statistics. The copy box could be wrong, but you can't win a fight if you didn't drop or stop the dude. If you get outlanded by double the punches that you landed. You landed 152, brother. He landed 344. You threw 679, brother. He threw 974. There's no way, bro. There's a couple times where you weren't throwing punches. You look like you was hurt. Now, were you really hurt? I don't know. Maybe something was wrong with your stomach or your oxygen level. You were exhausted. I don't know what it was, but you were looking in bad shape a couple times. Zepeda got cracked a couple times, but even when you cracked him, you didn't step on the gas. Now, what's next for Tevin Farmer? I don't know. I feel like he can only blame himself. I think that Tevin Farmer, that's what, his 8th loss now. I still think he's a formidable fighter. I don't think he's just a gatekeeper. I think he can potentially be champion. You never know how these things may unfold in boxing, right? So I'm not going to say his championship aspirations are completely kaput, but I don't foresee him becoming a champion. But you never know. But I don't want to call him a gatekeeper, because I still think that he could beat a lot of people, and I don't want to just say, oh, he's somebody that determines if you're good or not, and if you can't beat him, then you're bad. No, because I could see somebody being good and losing to Tevin Farmer. But I will say this: if you want to say he's a gatekeeper between a contender and a elite level, championship level guy, then I could go for that. But I mean, Tevin Farmer, he shows some durability. He was rolling with a lot of the punches. I'm not saying that he was hurt all the time, but it's just sheer value, man. He got outworked. The work rate was something that he couldn't keep up with, and especially in the first half of the fight, he just didn't look good. Now, if he would have stepped up like he did in the latter portion of the fight, if he would have did that throughout, then I think it would have been a different story. But you can't step on the gas and come out ready to fight in the 8th round after the guy beat you 6 rounds straight. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not going for that. Yeah, I could tell if he was pumped for. Yeah, exactly, Ryan. Farmer looked like fight. Yeah, he looked like fight back. There's no way, bro. Tevin Farmer is definitely a warrior. Shout out to Bill Haney. That goes. There goes that theory. Yeah, man. Yeah, Tevin Farmer's a beast. Like I said, there's no shame on him, But I think that I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, Tevin Farmer got robbed," and he felt like he got robbed. Like I said, I understand it. When you in that paint, when you are in that paint and you're in the middle of it, GM, I feel it. You feel like you won any close fight that you're in. You feel like you won. You feel like you stopped the guy for doing what he wanted to do. You feel like you weren't hurt. I get it. But his corner, there's no way that he should have felt like he was winning. Like the whole time, I'm like, what is he doing, bro? He just cool with surviving. Like, I didn't know what the game plan was, watching. I'm not freaking Nazim Richardson, rest in peace, or the late great Emmanuel Stewart, rest in peace. But I've been watching boxing for a while, and I'm pretty good at seeing what a fighter and their team are trying to implement as far as the game plan goes, or what a fighter is doing. And I didn't know what the hell he was doing. It looked like he didn't know what he was doing either, besides getting punched on. So I'm not hearing that Tevin Farmer got robbed this fight. He might have got robbed the first fight. He might have got robbed against Raymond Murtala. He did not get robbed in that Zepeda rematch. I don't want to hear that. He could only blame himself. He didn't have the work rate at all. I had it like 10-2 Zepeda. Exactly, GM. Exactly. I scored it 7-5 for Zepeda. And I felt like 2 of those rounds that I gave to Farmer were questionable. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, if you and let's be real, it was a majority decision. The majority decision was two judges scored it in favor of Zepeda. 1 judge scored it a draw. That means that nobody scored it in favor of Tevin Farmer. So, and then, this is boxing. There's been times when I'm sure you could attest to this too, GM and Oscar. There's been times when we agreed with the judges and we disagreed with all 3 of them bitches. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that that's the end all be all, but let's not act like it was a majority decision or a split decision because some people bet on or favored Tevin Farmer. No, nobody scored it in favor of Tevin Farmer as far as the official judges go. 2 of the judges scored it in favor of Zepeda. 1 scorecard was like mine. It was 115-113. I think the other scorecard was 116-112, which reflects a scorecard of 8 rounds to 4. My 115-113 reflects a round count of 7 rounds to 5. And I think the other guy had a 114-114, 6 rounds to 6. Nobody scored it in favor of Tevin Farmer. So robbery where? So, I mean, shout out to Tevin Farmer. I think he does have more to give. I understand him being frustrated, but I don't want to hear about, oh, yeah, I go to camp just to get robbed. Nah, bro, you robbed yourself. You didn't give yourself a chance. So, and let's be real. Maybe you didn't throw punches because you couldn't. And that's a testament to Zepeda, right? Zepeda's work rate was crazy, and maybe Zepeda was overwhelming him. So, maybe it wasn't a conscious decision for him to take those rounds off. Maybe he ain't have no choice. And that's even more of an indictment to your claim that you got robbed. It's more of a testament that Zepeda did what the fuck he wanted to do. Excuse my French. So I just don't see it. I don't really understand. However, I will say this. I told you the good things in regards to Zepeda. He definitely won that fight. Put a seal on it, put a stamp on it. But as far as beating the other champions at 135, as in Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, and Vasily Lomachenko, they didn't do shit for me. Not a tank, nothing, zilch, nothing, bro. It didn't do nothing for me. Like, to me, Zepeda winning, it don't change anything. As far as being the champs, I still think he loses to all the champions. I mean, we got to remember, this is a guy that was an undisputed mandatory, which sounds crazy, right? But what I mean by that, those of you unfamiliar with the term undisputed mandatory, is the fact that he was ranked number 1 in all the sanctioning bodies. He was ranked number 1 in the IBF, the WBA, WBC, the WBO. The IBF for Lomachenko, the WBA for Gervonta Tank Davis, WBC for Shakur Stevenson, WBO for Dennis Berinchek, now Keyshawn Davis, but at the time it was Denise Berinchek. He didn't get a title shot with none of one of them. None of one of them. And to me, you could be foolish and be a Zepeda fanboy or fangirl and say, oh, they're not giving him title shots, which sounds very far-fetched, right? None of the champions. So all 4 of the champions are ducking Zepeda. Stop it. What's more closer to the truth, and what's more closer to reality, and in all likelihood, the accurate story is that Zepeda didn't want a title shot. And what's indicative of that? What's indicative of that is him calling out Shakur Stevenson after he beat Maxie Hughes, him calling him out Shakur Stevenson after he beat Giovanni Cabrera, and then him calling him out when he wanted to fight in November, but then saying he couldn't, but then turning around and fighting Tevin Farmer in November after Shakur has obliged to fight him every single time. So this was a good win, but it doesn't make me any more confident than I was before this win that he would beat any of the champions. So basically what I'm saying to bring all of it full circle with all the fights that we saw, Bruce Shushu Carrington looked good in his win. Shout out to him. Zepeda looked good at his win. And Emiliano Vargas looked good at his win. They all look good. But as far as these performances moving the needle for my expectations of them, not my expectations, but my how can I say, my assessment of them, it didn't change. You know what I'm saying? Because in different ways though, right? In different ways, but they also say like Zepeda, I still think he's a top contender. I still don't think he beats any of the champions. Bruce Shushu Carrington, I still think he's a top contender, but I still don't think he beats. I think he struggles with all the champions, with his best shot of becoming a champion being Nick Ball. I felt that way before his win over Vivas. I feel that way after. And then with Emiliano Vargas, I thought he was a good prospect, and he beat a guy who I didn't know in the first round. So his stock didn't go down, but it didn't go up because I don't know who the heck he just beat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure I speak for everybody when we look at Emiliano Vargas. He got a good win, but we say, who the freak is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? No damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that?
So it's hard when we see a guy win to gauge how good they are, because if we don't know the opponent. So I still think Emiliano, that's good though. You know, Emiliano is handling business. He's a prospect, just like Abdullah Mason, and but Abdullah Mason has fought more recognizable guys. But it's important and instrumental to their growth and their progression for them to continue to look good and handle business how they're supposed to handle. But as far as me being able to gauge or move the needle, be like, okay, yeah, Emiliano Vargas can do this, this, and this, and beat this person, that person because of his performance. I can't say that because I don't know, you know what I'm saying? The same as Zepeda, it didn't really do anything much. Last night he won by KO. When did Shushu fight? Omari, yeah, that's crazy. You only that's your, is this your king? Is this your king? Yeah, he looked good too, man. Yeah, man, he looked good, bro. Out there looking like Hitch's Broner and Tank. He looked good, bro. Yeah, man. So Zepeda has no chin, has only chance at Shakur while his hands messed up. Yeah, like I said, I still think Shakur, like I said, that's what I'm saying with Zepeda. Zepeda looked good, and I like him, as I always liked his fighting style. I don't like the fact that he's ducking Shakur. Like, if you don't want to fight him, don't fight him, but then don't try to call him out and play this game like we watching a gosh dang soap opera drama, man. I'm not trying to watch Days of Our Lives or Guiding Light. I'm trying to watch boxing, man. So if you don't want to fight the dude, stop calling his name. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. But and so I think that yeah, like I said, he did look good putting a casket, not a casket, but putting a closing to Tevin Farmer saga, the Tevin Farmer saga. But like I said, it doesn't make me any more confident that he'll beat the other champions. You know, same with Shushu. That was a good win. He was the first person to stop Enrique Vivas. Shout out to him. But it doesn't make me any more confident that he beats Fulton or Espinosa. Definitely not Espinosa. Fulton, I think Fulton beats him. I think Espinosa beats him. I think he has a good chance against Leo, but I would lean slightly towards Leo. I'll say like 60-40 towards Leo, Angelo Leo, that is. And then Nick Ball, I think that's a 50-50 fight. Depends on how well Shushu can handle Nick Ball trying to muscle him. You know what I'm saying? If he can handle that the rough housing, then I think he wins. But if he can't, then I think he loses. So I gotta see how he handles Nick Ball. But he looked good. If he could look like he good last night, I think he could beat Nick Ball. But it just doesn't move the needle for me. But they did look good. They did what they're supposed to do, and that's important. Zepeda versus Keyshawn. Hey, I like that fight now, but I don't think Zepeda wants to fight Keyshawn either, Brian. I don't think Zepeda wants to fight Keyshawn either, man. But yeah, I'm done with the recap for this weekend, man. I did want to get into Bud's comments on EJ. We were talking about that a little bit, man. Shout out to Ryan. We were also talking about, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about who looked better at 135, Shakur or Keyshawn or Baranchek, and we could talk about that now. I'm down to revisit those topics. But yeah, man, I also want to discuss Bud, right? Terrence Bud Crawford was interviewed by Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian badman in the MMA world, and then Henry Cejudo. I'm not really a big MMA fan, so forgive me if I mispronounce either one of their names, but I know Kamaru Usman, and then I believe it's Henry Cejudo, who I'm not really familiar with. But he was on an interview with them, and what the heck is wrong with this thing? He was on it. Don't forget to smack that like button, y'all. I appreciate it. And go check out my boy Ryan Frazier, man. Ryan Frazier, big North in the building. Ryan Frazier, Boxing Talk Up North, man. Check out my boy. Yes, sir, man. Hit him with a follow and all that good stuff, man. If you watch the Boxing Voice, he's also featured on there quite a bit, you know what I'm saying, doing his thing. So check out the good content creators, man. That's my guy there, man. He definitely does his thing out there in Canada, man, holding it down for the 6. You know what I'm talking about? I got the 6 in the mix. You feel me? He said, Bud really hates EJ. I disagree. I disagree, Ryan, emphatically. I made a video about it, right, where I talked about it. And I want to dive a little deeper, man. I don't think that came from hate. I don't think it came from a place of hate, jealousy, envy, or anything negative. Or any other negative sentiment or emotion that could be attached. I believe is being falsely attached. I think he's just giving his honest opinion. I thought he articulated it very well, and I'm kind of surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm stupid. You know, maybe it's my naivete, but maybe I try to think too good of people. But it's like I'm kind of surprised on how bad people are taking it. Like, do we not realize? I talked about this earlier, right? Terrence Crawford is probably one of the most, if not the most, disrespected. But let's be very clear. Terrence Crawford is one of the best fighters that we have right now. He's definitely going to go down as one of the best fighters in history. But you know what he's the most of? Number one, right now he's the most disrespected active boxer. Canelo's up there too when it comes to disrespect. Who else? Clarissa Shields is up there too when it comes to disrespect. But I think Terrence Crawford tops them all. Terrence Crawford literally has more wins and more fights than Usyk and Inoue. He's undisputed, just like Usyk and Inoue. He's undisputed in 2 different weight classes, just like Usyk and Inoue. And he's undefeated, just like Usyk and Inoue. But who do you hear get disrespected when it comes to their resume and who they fought and their record and their activity and all that? It's Terrence Crawford. Right? Terrence Crawford gets questioned and broken down in ways that are just mind-boggling to me. Like, people will say that Terrence Crawford only beat Errol Spence. I don't know if people realize this, but do you realize that Errol Spence was on the pound for pound list when him and Terrence Crawford fought? Number one. Number two, when Terrence Crawford beat Errol Spence, that was for him to get undisputed, yes, but at 147, not undisputed at 140. People act like that was his first time getting undisputed, or that was his only undisputed run. So even if you want to discredit his win against Errol Spence and somehow be dismissive of him being undisputed at 147, what about him being undisputed at 140? That don't matter? Because I never hear, when people talk about Usyk's greatness, I never hear people talk about the personnel that he ran through to get undisputed at cruiserweight. I never hear people talk about the personnel that Naoya Inoue ran through to get undisputed at 118. In fact, who did Naoya Inoue, who was his last 3 opponents? Louis Neary, TJ Dohinki, Yi Jun Kim. Those are his last 3 opponents. What are we doing? Terrence Crawford's last 3 opponents was Israel Madrimov, Errol Spence. Do I need to go on? I think y'all get the rest, right? So it's just like the man beat an undefeated Eastern European champion in Victor Postal, took his belts. That's on his record. He beat Sean Porter, who was just inducted into some version of the Boxing Hall of Fame. I want to say Nevada, the real one. I don't say I'm not saying like they're real and fake, but you know, there's quite a few Boxing Hall of Fames. He beat Sean Porter, a former champion. He beat Amir Khan, a former champion. He beat Kell Brook, a former champion. He beat Yuriorkis Gamboa when he was undefeated, and he was called the Little Mike Tyson. But we don't give him credit for that. I guarantee you, like I said, you could name more people that Terrence Crawford fought and beat than you could name that Usyk and Naoya Inoue fought and beat combined. But somehow, some way, we say that Terrence Crawford doesn't deserve the credit that he gets. I do not understand. It's completely mind-boggling to me. So let's go back to his comments now, right? Not to mention that, Jose Benavidez Jr., he's the first person and the only person till this day to stop Jose Benavidez Jr. I'm not saying Jose Benavidez Jr. is a great fighter, but he's a damn good fighter. He's a formidable fighter. He's the only person to stop him was Terrence Bud Crawford. Not Jamal Charlo, who was much bigger than Jose Benavidez Jr., and I like Charlo. I like Jose Benavidez Jr. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying. He went up to 160, 166, I believe he fought Jamal Charlo at a catchweight, and he still didn't get stopped. But Terrence Bud Crawford stopped him. So now let's fast forward to the comments that he made on EJ that I think people are taking completely out of context. He said, how? When they asked him if Errol Spence was going to be in the Hall of Fame, verbatim, he said, how? So that lets you know that he's perplexed, and he's saying, how can you put him in there? And then he goes and says, he's still trying to accomplish what I've already accomplished. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that to let you know in his mind, his perspective, he's saying, okay, I hear you saying that I only beat Spence. I hear you saying that I didn't beat anybody. I hear you not giving me credit for Kavaliauskas and Avanesian and all these guys. I hear you not giving me credit. But for the same reasons why you're not giving me credit, you're turning around and telling me that Errol Spence could be in the Hall of Fame and he hasn't accomplished half of what I've done yet. Errol Spence has never been undisputed. Now, I want to preface this. I think Errol Spence is a bona fide Hall of Famer. I think he's a super Hall of Famer. The fact that he was, you could argue he was carrying the storied, glamorous welterweight division while he was there. He was definitely outselling everybody in box office while he was there. He beat guys like Sean Porter, Kell Brook, Danny Swift Garcia, Yordenis Ugas while he was there, Lamont Peterson, and so on. And he did his thing. But it's not lying. He only campaigned in one division. I don't think you have to campaign in multiple divisions to be a Hall of Famer, but it definitely helps your strengthen your resume, right? So Errol Spence campaigned primarily at 147, right? And he never got undisputed, and he lost to Terrence Crawford. So when Terrence Crawford says, if you critique me like this, how can you tell me that Errol Spence belongs in the Hall of Fame and he definitively accomplished less? So I don't think it's a place of hate. I think he's just translating his career to Errol Spence's. And he's like, bro, people are talking about I haven't beat anybody. So I'm saying that if you hold him to my standard, which you shouldn't, because we hold Terrence Crawford to a ridiculous, erroneous, mostly standard, you know, then there'll be a lot of people that are in the Hall of Fame that would not be in the Hall of Fame if you hold him to the same standard that you hold Terrence Bud Crawford to. And there's a lot of people that are going to the Hall of Fame that would not be permitted to hop in the Hall of Fame if you compare him and criticize him as much as we compare and criticize as much as we criticize Terrence Crawford. That's what I think the angle that he's coming from. And I feel like it was clear that he was coming from that angle. So I don't think he was saying that Errol Spence is bad. In fact, he said, I'm not hating on him. I'm not saying his career is bad. He said he has some good wins and he's a good fighter. But compared to me, if y'all question my Hall of Fame claim, then there's no way that Errol Spence could be in there because he significantly accomplished less. And I agree with him 1,000%. The part that I disagree with him, though, emphatically, is that Floyd Mayweather's in the Hall of Fame. Sugar Ray Leonard's in the Hall of Fame. Roberto Duran's in the Hall of Fame. Canelo's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Sean Porter's in the Hall of Fame. All these guys. Nye Inouye's going to be there. Ussy's going to be there. Bud's going to be there. My point is Pacquiao's going to be is there. My point in saying that is that these guys are all great, but they accomplish greatness in different ways. And all greatness isn't the same, right? And I'm not saying that all greatness is equal either, but like, for example, Floyd Mayweather never was undisputed, but he beat a lot of champions. Manny Pacquiao was never undisputed, but he went up 6 divisions or 8 divisions if you want to count regular belts, which I do, you know. Then he went up 8 divisions. If you want to say Bernard Hopkins, he had a streak of 20 straight consecutive successful title defenses at middleweight. He mostly campaigned at one division. He's in the Hall of Fame. So there's more than one way to skin the cat. So I think Errol Spence, off of his accolades alone, he's in the Hall of Fame. But I also believe that Terrence Crawford is definitively in the Hall of Fame as well. And I think that he has a stronger claim to Hall of Fame than a lot of fighters do, you know. So that's what I think the point that he was making. I don't think he was hating on Errol Spence at all. I think he was just saying, yeah, man, relative to me, if y'all question my shit, then of course, how can you put Errol Spence in there? But I think Errol Spence is a bona fide Hall of Famer. I think Deontay Wilder, who another person that people question, I think he's a Hall of Famer. And you know what's so crazy about that? Errol Spence, if I'm not mistaken, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think Errol Spence is 28-1, meaning he has 29 fights. He won 28 of them things, and he lost one to arguably one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter today, in Terrence Bud Crawford, right? And people are questioning if he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But then you turn around and tell me Lomachenko is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Lomachenko has 21 fights, less than Errol Spence. Lomachenko has less fights than Errol Spence has wins, and he has 3 times as many losses. Because Errol Spence only has 1 loss. Lomachenko has 3 of them things. He's 18-3 in 21 fights, and people tell me he's a Hall of Famer, a bona fide Hall of Famer. But you're questioning if Errol Spence is a Hall of Famer. Okay, I'll rest my case. Nothing else. And when you want to talk about, oh, well, Lomachenko beat some good guys, his best win is Guillermo Rigondeaux. Guillermo Rigondeaux, he brought the freak up. Excuse my French, almost cussed. He brought Guillermo Rigondeaux up. And somebody on I'm not knocking Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko is a Hall of Famer. He'll be a Hall of Famer, right? That's not my point. I'm just saying, if you compare these guys, why are we breaking down one and not breaking down the other? You see what I'm saying? And so when I made that video, some guy told me, oh, Errol Spence brought up a Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia was a good win. You know why Mikey Garcia was a good win? Yes, he was a smaller fighter, but Mikey Garcia, not only was he one of my favorite fighters, but he beat a lot of guys. He was a top guy. He was a pound for pound talent. Mikey Garcia, maybe not at the time when Errol Spence. Well, I think he was pound for pound when Errol Spence beat him. So a guy would tell me he doesn't get any credit for Mikey Garcia, for washing Mikey Garcia because he moved up. But then you're gonna tell me that Lomachenko gets credit for Guillermo Rigondeaux because he was a top fighter. He was in the top 10 pound for pound. You see the contradiction? The contradiction. So it's just crazy. That's what boxing fans are. They're just not objective and they're not honest, man. You know, there's no way you can tell me Lomachenko belongs in the Hall of Fame from his professional career and try to tell me Errol Spence doesn't because he lost to Terrence Crawford. Lomachenko lost to Devin Haney, Orlando Salido, and Teofimo Lopez. What are we doing? What are we doing? So if you want to give Lomachenko credit with Guillermo Rigondeaux, and you should, because I do, then you got to give Errol Spence credit for Mikey Garcia. You want to give Lomachenko credit for beating Gary Allen Russell Jr., then I'm going to give Errol Spence credit for beating Lamont Peterson and Sean Porter. You feel me? So we can go tit for tat, and I guarantee you that Errol Spence will be more impressive. This is what it is, unless you want to talk about going up through divisions, of course, which is dope. But, you know, then I'll talk about the lack of losses that Errol Spence has while he was doing great things like beating Sean Porter and Mikey Garcia and Lamont Peterson and you feel me, and having one of the biggest fights of this era with Terrence Crawford. You feel me? So it is what it is. Shout out to Bud saying Loma shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, he said that? Did he say that, Oscar? I missed that part. I watched the whole interview. I missed that part. Unless he said that before. But that was like an hour-long video. I was doing stuff around the house and getting some stuff taken care of. I didn't hear him say that. I'm watching the highlights, the way he holds his WBC silver. So the way he holds his... Hey, pause. You like the way he holds it?
No, did he?
Hey, yo. What are we talking about? He said, I just don't know how fighters downplay the guys they beat. But that's the thing, though, Ryan. I don't think he was downplaying them. Like I think he was just being honest, and that's why I respect it, because that's an angle that a lot of people are taking. And I think that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but the reason why I think that's wrong, I don't think he's saying that EJ is bad. I think he's just saying that, hey, man, there's a lot of people that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. It just so happened that he was asked about Errol Spence. Like Oscar said, if he said that Loma shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I don't know if he said that. But if he did say that, then that would align with what he's saying. The way that we critique Terrence Crawford is, like I said, is unfair in comparison to how we critique other fighters. You see what I'm saying? So that's the angle he's coming from. I don't think he's, like I said, I didn't take him as him shitting on Errol Spence or downplaying Errol Spence or being condescending to Errol Spence or dismissive of Errol Spence. I think he's saying, bro, if you grade me like this, then let's give the same rubric and place it on Errol Spence and Keith Thurman and all these other fighters, Lomachenko and all these other fighters. Then there's no way that they're Hall of Famers if I'm a borderline Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? That's how I took it. That's how I received it. I didn't receive him as him saying, oh yeah, Errol Spence is trash. I didn't see it. I didn't take it like that, bro. I didn't receive it like that. And I kind of wonder how people did. Like, maybe I'm tripping, but I didn't receive it like that at all. I took it as him saying, you know, I don't think he's saying, oh yeah, man, that guy's bad, or that's not my best win, or you know, I think it's just him being honest. You know, a lot of times we hype up people's best wins. You know, it's so crazy to me. It's like I already said this before. On one hand, we'll say we'll say Deontay Wilder is trash, but then on the other hand, we'll say Joseph Parker is good because he beat Deontay Wilder. How can Deontay Wilder be trash, but then another fighter be called good because he beat him? That's what we doing? You get clout. You get clout for being trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Deontay Wilder is so trash, but there's three heavyweight fighters that have been called good because they beat Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury was called the best heavyweight because he beat Deontay Wilder, but Deontay Wilder's trash. Joseph Parker lost to Dylan White, lost to Anthony Joshua, got knocked the freak out by Joe Joyce, but he beat Deontay Wilder. All of a sudden, he's good now, but Deontay Wilder's trash. Zhale Zhang, who's 42 years old, he beats another guy Deontay Wilder, who's 40, with double the amount of wins, double the amount of fights, or ring mileage. He's not good. He's questionable. He ain't beat nobody, but then he beat Deontay Wilder. He's good now, but Deontay Wilder's trash. You see how selective, bro? It's ridiculous, bro. I ain't gonna lie. You're so trash, but how can you make somebody good by losing to him? But you trash. Come on, dog. Don't make no sense, bro. Don't make no sense, bro. That's all I'm damn saying. That's all I'm saying, brother. So yeah, but yeah, I didn't take it as him downplaying. I think he's just saying, hey man. I just take it as him saying, hey man, you know, how can you say that I'm not a Hall of Famer, but then tell me a guy who hasn't accomplished as much as me be a Hall of Famer, you know? And these fighters are good. I'm not, you know, I like Big Bang Zhang. You know what I'm saying? I like Zhang, Big Bang. You know, I like Zhang. I like Tyson Fury. You know, he's in the moat for a reason. That's one of my favorite fighters as well. So I'm not saying that these guys aren't good, but I'm also saying that I think Tyson Fury's good because he beat Deontay Wilder, but I also think Deontay Wilder's good. So it makes sense. It checks out. The equation works out. It computes. You feel me? It doesn't make sense. We know what you... Hey, King Grayson, what up, bro? You already know what time it is. And I'm not even... And that's the thing, Grayson. King Grayson. I'm not even trying to take it there. But it is what it is. Like, we know what it is. You know, it is what it is, bro. There's no way... So that's the way I took it from Terrence Crawford. You know, I took that Terrence Crawford was saying, hey, man, you know, not that I'm shitting on EJ. EJ's a good fighter, but I'm definitively more accomplished than him. So people question me like I didn't do nothing. So if I did more than this guy, how could this guy be where I'm at if I'm struggling to get in the Hall of Fame and he hasn't even accomplished as much as I accomplished? So no, he's not a Hall of Famer. So in my opinion, I don't think Terrence Crawford should call anybody that's a current fighter besides Canelo a Hall of Famer, because he's just as accomplished, if not more accomplished than all of them. That's why I always say, man, it makes me just next time you hear somebody disrespecting Terrence Crawford in his resume, I want you to ask them if they think Naya Inoue and Usyk are good, because there's no way that they're all good. They're all phenomenal. All three of them, Usyk, Inoue, and Bud. But there's no way you can tell me that Usyk and Inoue are good and then tell me that Bud's not, when he has more recognizable people on his resume than Usyk and Inoue. That's just a fact. And he has more formidable guys than Usyk and Inoue. That's just a fact. Usyk is known because of his phenomenal run at the heavyweight division. What about his run at the cruiserweight? You can't name two, three people. The average person, I'm not even talking about, forget the casuals. The average boxing purist can't tell me 3 people that he beat on his way to cruiserweight dominance. I guarantee you can tell me 3 people that Terrence Bud Crawford beat on his way to undisputed at 140 and 147 throughout his entire career. You can't do it, bro. So I know you can't name Inoue. Stop it. Stop it. So, but we respect them because why? Because they're undisputed. That's how it goes. Even if you can't name the individual personnel that they fought, you know that they did enough to conquer their domain, because that's what being undisputed symbolizes. That means that I don't even care who you fought, because you came out as the man or the woman in your division. That means everybody else can't F with you. That's what that literally means. You beat everybody that need to be beat. So why are we questioning Terrence Crawford when he's undisputed twice? I don't need to know who Naya Inoue beat at 118 and 122, but because I know he's the man. At 118 and 122, that's what undisputed means. I don't need to know who even though I do know who Inoue beat, and I do know who Usyk beat, I don't need to know who Usyk beat at cruiserweight and heavyweight, because I know that he's a man. That's what being undisputed symbolizes. So why do we all of a sudden get a little shaky, and we all of a sudden get a little confused, and we all of a sudden get a little dismissive when we talk about Terrence Crawford's undisputed accomplishments at 140 and 147? You could say Errol Spence was messed up from the car accident. Well, Danny Garcia didn't beat him. He wasn't messed up that much, you know. So, but I also, you know, I thought Errol Spence was going to beat Terrence Crawford. I'll tell you wholeheartedly, I like Errol Spence more than I like Terrence Crawford, but I also like Terrence Crawford a whole lot too. I was kind of torn, you know. I lean towards Errol Spence, but the point is that I could also objectively say that Errol Spence was not 100%. That's why I respect Errol Spence so much, because he was still fighting despite a horrific car accident. He was still a man of his word and fought Terrence Crawford, even though he couldn't really make 147 comfortably anymore, but he's still a man of his word. However, I still give Terrence Crawford credit, because I don't think there's anybody on earth that would do Errol Spence the way that Terrence Crawford did him. And if he was at 100%, I still think Terrence Crawford beats him, because that was that convincing of a win. Like, these things, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. They could both exist simultaneously. I don't think Errol Spence was 100%, but even if he was, I don't think he would have beat that Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, that night, he was on one, or on a few things, because he put a beating on that boy. Gosh, from pillar to post. From post to pillar. I like Terrence Crawford a whole lot, but that was some bullshit he put out. I don't think it was that. I don't think it was too bad, bro. I think he was just saying, like I said, I already explained my position. You know what I'm saying? If people disagree, hey, we're all entitled. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, that's just how I received it. I can't control how people receive things, and maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe he was throwing shade at Terrence Crawford. I mean, at EJ. You know, maybe, but I think he was just telling the truth from his perspective. On the truth. He was telling the truth on the truth. You know, Errol the Truth Spence. He smashed my boy. Yeah. And bro, I'm telling you, me and my boy put money on it. You know what I'm saying? I bet on Errol Spence, but I'm not one of those guys that be like, I knew it was gonna be a good. Well, Obviously, I didn't know it was going to be a good fight. I thought it was going to be a good fight. I just thought, you know, let the best man win. Just like when Manny Pacquiao and Floyd. You know what I'm saying? I rock with Pacquiao. I rock with Floyd. I like Floyd a little more than I like Pacquiao, but I like them both a lot. You know, and when they fought, I was torn. You know, I was like, man, whoever wins, let the best man win. And Floyd won, and that's who I wanted to win, and that's who I was leaning towards, and Floyd won. With Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, very similar situation. Two top guys that I like a whole lot. I like Errol Spence slightly a little bit more. I actually met Terrence Crawford, got an autograph, dope brother, man. And you know, I thought Errol Spence was gonna win. My partner, he thought Terrence Crawford was gonna win. Obviously, he was right, but neither one of us thought it was gonna be like that. You feel me? So that was crazy. Everyone who was around Spence is falling. It's failing. Adrian Broner, Tank Davis, Charlos, and Yellow B. Hey, Yellow Beezy. Hey, I don't really think Tank is failing. No, I mean, he had a draw. That's a testament to your greatness, man. He had a draw, and people act like it's the end of the world. You know, it's so funny. We hear more about a draw, and we act like he took an L. Somehow, some way, Ryan Garcia losing to Tank is less talked about than and less damning than Tank getting a draw against somebody who he had a familiarity with in Lamont Roach. But then again, I also was one of those guys, one of the few that thought Lamont Roach would put up a good fight. I thought it was going to be a good fight. I thought Tank was going to win now, you know, and Tank was a beneficiary of a missed call, and Lamont Roach did get robbed of that points. He deserved those points, but I'm just different. I don't blame Tank. The fighters don't call fouls or infractions on themselves. No, the fighters don't do that. The referee does that. The referee missed a call. That has nothing to do with Tank. Tank took the knee. He didn't try to put on a David Blaine invisible cloak like freaking Harry Potter and try to conceal the knee. He took a knee in his face, and the ref didn't call it. That's the ref. Shout out to Steve Willis. You know what I'm saying? It's not his fault either. They making mistakes, man. Players mess up too, man. Bro, people downplay Bivol versus Beterbiev 3 like it's not the highest display of boxing and clashes of styles in a minute. Right, exactly. People downplay everything, bro. Like, I hear people tell me I'm stupid that I want Beterbiev and Bivol trilogy. What? Just from the common courtesy, give Beterbiev his get back. Because that's what Beterbiev did for us. And Bivol. Woo! My boy Tech Dumb Dad in the building. Big member in the building. Yes, sir, man. So anybody want to pull up in the Discord, man, the channel is open now. Don't forget to smack that like button. Spence vs. Bud was an amazing arrow boxer. I used to get a lot of death threats. Damn. While in high school on panels, people went crazy on me. Dang. Death threats is crazy. DBT family. Yo, salute. Dr. Boston Talk and DBT family. There was some real entertaining fights as yes, sir, man. We was live for it too. What up, Tech? Salutations, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Big salute, man. Yes, sir. So, yeah, man, there was some good fights, man. Hey, I got to go use the bathroom real quick. I'm going to run this ad real quick while I go use the bathroom. But the Discord is open. I'll open it up when I get back. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and call it. We've been on for an hour, 48, almost 2 hours. So let's get it, man. We still keeping it going and growing, man. You know my thing. But, yeah, I'll be right back. Let me go use the bathroom. Use the bathroom one time.
Yo, Doc here from your favorite boxing channel, Dr. Boxing Talk. And I want to officially welcome you as a member to the Boxing Talk family, aka BTF. So I want to thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated, and this channel is nothing without you. So what do you get? Well, there's a multitude of perks that you get access to, like special member shoutouts when you enter the chat, and some other additional alerts. Not to mention these fire emojis. You get access to emojis like the GOAT, the GOAT, the face of boxing, the legend, the Ayo, and the No Diddy. Not to mention, you know, the GTD chain. You got to bring them out, and it wouldn't be the same if we forgot about these biscuits. And so many more. Not to mention, if you subscribe to some of the highest tier levels, you get to do things like pick the topic of discussion, and you get to have your very own emote. Yes, your ugly mug will be featured on the channel by yours truly. It's just another way for me to give back to my most loyal supporters. And of course, there's even more additional perks than that. But most importantly, you'll get the satisfaction of knowing you're a key, essential, imperative part to keep us going and growing. You know, we get the hustle off the muscle. So it's important that we rock together, you know? And remember, God is good all the time, and God is good. And you know that we prioritize facts over feelings, so that's why you rock with us. So big salute from Dr. Boxing Talk, and yeah, can't wait to see you in the next stream. Thank you for the support.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
All right, I'm back. Out of everyone who's a champion now, who has fought before? Do you see them fighting again this year? Shoot, every champion that fought, it's only March. I better see every champion that fought again, that fought this year fight again, man. We need that activity up, brother. A couple examples. Brian Norman Jr. I think he fights again this year. Gary Anton Russell, I think he fights again this year. Boots, after he wins, hey, talk to him. I think he fights again this year. I think both of them fight again this year. I think the winner and the loser. Boots and Stanionis, I think they both fight again this year. Barrios, I don't know, but I think he fights again this year. Excuse me. I think Rayo fights again this year. Well, I don't know about Rayo. Hopefully he fights again this year. I know he just lost, but shit. I think Richardson Hitches fights again this year. Wait, what, did Hitches fight this year? Was him and Liam Parle this year, or was that late last year? I don't even remember now, but I think Hitches fights this year. I think who else? I think Tank fights again this year. I think Shakur fights again this year. Hopefully each other. Yeah, hell yeah. I think Bivol fights again this year. I think Dubois didn't fight, right? I think Benavidez fights again. I hope Morrell fights again. I don't know about Morrell though, but y'all see that card though? Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's supposed to headline a card. I think it's another free PBC event. That'd be dope. Supposedly Jamal Charles is supposed to be featured on there as well. That's fire. Yeah, what about you, Boys Who Cry? Who do you think? Oh man, I'm gonna go get some food too, man. I'm not gonna be on too long. All I ate was some cereal, man. Yo. Oscar stuff raggedy, bruh. Yo. Oscar stuff ain't working, y'all. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, maybe it's mine. Oh, no, because I would see him talking, actually. I didn't plug it in, though. Oh, I put it in backwards. Oh, Lord. I put it in backwards. Yo. Okay, nah, it's still Oscar. Oscar stuff raggedy, chat. He said, I can't wait to see Caleb in the ring. Yeah, man. That'd be nice, man. According to the plans, it's supposed to be in I made a video about it. I don't remember what date it is now off the top of my head. I want to say July. No. May 31st. May 31st. Is that a Saturday? The last day of May, if I'm not mistaken. Last day of May, man. That'd be good. Yep. May 31st. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Oscar stuff, man. Maybe he lost service or something. But yeah, man, I think we have some good fights coming up, man. You not in the Discord, fool. Talk about you can't hear me, man. How you gonna hear me? You ain't there, bro. Head ass. Let me pull you back up. Yo. Ah, man, I guess it's messing up. Is it my? Oh, there you go. There you go. I hear you now. Yo, what's good, bro?
Bro, you kicked me out.
Cuz, man, I thought it was something wrong with you being in there. I kicked you out and brought you back in.
Man, no, that shit didn't pull me back up. I was like, yo, because I'm driving. I was like, yo, for like 20 minutes straight.
My bad, bro. That's tough. What's good, man?
Not much. Like I said, I went to the zoo, but I live close to everything, but far from everything, so it's like 2-hour drive.
Ah.
So yeah, going back home. But what you want to talk about? I don't know what you want me to start.
Bro. Shoot, it doesn't matter, man. Whatever you want to talk about. We could talk about let me think. What did we just talk about? We could talk about, hold on, let me see. I don't even know, man. I'm trying to think of something that I hear your opinion on. What do you think about, oh yeah, what do you think about Bud's comments on EJ?
I don't think it's bad because it's not like he's saying he's not a Hall of Famer. Like the way I took it is like, if I'm not a Hall of Famer or if they criticize him the way they criticize me, then he's damn sure it's not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
That's not, because like, let's be honest, Bud, like there's some people, especially in the boxing media, I don't know why, but like professional fighters saying that, oh, Bud only win is Errol's fans. He don't got the resume to be in the Hall of Fame. He's got the accomplishments, but he don't got the resume and stuff like that. It was always second to Errol. Like they were, like all his wins were always compared to Errol's fans.
Right.
Yeah, but either Errol did it first or Errol did it better. You know, so it's natural. Like, and that's not Errol's fans' fault. It's just that, like that Bud was always looked at as a second option, as a second hand Errol.
Right. Yep, that's what I said. I didn't think it was hate, man. I think sometimes, you know, and that's just us, not me, you individually or anybody individually, but just us as a whole, man. Society as a whole is like we always try to take the negative, man, and exaggerate it. Like I think he said some things in there, and I feel like if you listen, you can hear his perspective. I don't really see the hate, man. I think he's just saying, hey, the way that I'm judged. Yeah, bro, it's like it's hard to say that this guy's in there if I'm struggling to get there and he's not even close to where I'm at. And you know, it's like, and this is kind of off topic, but it's a similar thing. Like I saw this guy, you know, he's a record producer in Atlanta, Young Scooter, rest in peace. He got shot and killed by the police the other day, right? And people were like, oh man, you know, why are you running from the police or whatever? And that's cool. I'm not saying you should run. I'm not advocating for anything, but it's like, bro, the man died. Since when is running justification to get killed? they didn't say that he was shooting at the police. They didn't say he was beating on somebody. Or what, they said he was running. Why are you running for the police? It's like, that's what you took out of the story? Like, I'm thinking, why did you get shot for running? Like, who the heck gets shot for running? I don't care what he was doing or whatever he was doing, innocent or not. Who cares? You still shouldn't get shot for running. Like that's, you know, but it's like people take the negative and they make you forget what the story is or what was said or the substance part. You know what I'm saying? You just want to highlight one part and get it. Like this one person was talking about, oh yeah, you know, if you didn't do anything wrong, you know, then you wouldn't run. It's like, what are you talking about? There's literally like just because you stand still and some people get frightened and they stand still and they freeze up. That doesn't mean that there's no danger around because they didn't move. I mean, there's literally like a saying said, a deer caught in headlights. There's a truck coming and he caught in the headlights. You would think that the deer would move, but sometimes people get frightened. So just because you're frightened and you stand still, that's not a plea for innocence, and nor is running an admission of guilt. Some people get scared or uncomfortable and they run. Some people get scared and uncomfortable and they freeze. You know what I'm saying? It's just a reaction. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, but people say, oh yeah, you did something wrong because you're running. And bro, he got shot and killed, bro. That's the topic. That's the main thing. Like he got shot and killed for running. Like, what are we talking about? So it's like, even with Errol Spence, I know it's slightly different, but I feel like people heard, oh, Terrence Crawford said Errol Spence is not a Hall of Famer. They ain't even listened to the rest of the explanation. They just heard, oh, Terrence Crawford said Errol Spence is not a Hall of Famer. Oh, he must have been dissing Errol Spence. Bro, the man literally said that he has good wins and he's a good fighter, but he said he doesn't think he's Hall of Fame because this, and this. And he literally told you that he falls short when compared to Terrence Bud Crawford. And that's true. His Errol Spence is not as accomplished as Terrence Crawford. However, I don't think you have to be as accomplished as Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, to make it to the Hall of Fame. I do think Errol Spence is a Hall of Fame. Famer. I think a lot of fighters are. I think Tyson Fury is a Hall of Famer. I think obviously Canelo's a Hall of Famer. I think in a way Usyk, Bud, you know what I'm saying? There's not one way to skin the cat, you know? It's just that, but if you talk about who's a better Hall of Famer, absolutely Bud is a better Hall of Famer. Or if you just want to talk about who has a better resume, absolutely Bud has a better resume. In my personal opinion, the only person who has a better resume than Bud, and it depends on how you look at it, is Canelo out of the active fighters. And even if you want to look at it like, if you want to talk about you got to break it down, right? If you want to talk about accolades or achievements, it's very few things that top being undisputed in 2 different weight classes. You know what I'm saying? And the fact he's undefeated while doing it. So at best, I could say that Usyk and Inoue are just as good as Terrence Crawford. But better, I would say Canelo, in my personal opinion, is better because the personnel in which he has. You know what I'm saying? He has fought, even though he lost to Bivol. He did fight a Bivol at 175. He fought a Kovalev and beat him at 175. Beat him. He was also undisputed. Granted, it wasn't 2 times in 2 different weight classes, but he was undisputed at a weight class of his own. You know, he fought legends like Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto and Sugar Shane Mosley and Triple G 3 times. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think from a personnel individual standpoint, his resume is better. But then you could also make an argument for Terrence Crawford and Usyk and Inoue for the achievement part of the resume, which all is everything. Your record is part of your resume. The personnel you fought is part of your resume. The achievements and accolades is part of your resume. So all these things build up your resume. So in my personal opinion, Cinnamon is a face of boxing because of his outstanding resume. But outside of Canelo, there's nobody else that you could say is better. You could say Usyk and Inoue are the same. You can't say they're better. You know what I'm saying? So if there's only one person that you could say is better. So what's wrong with that one person in Terrence Crawford saying that somebody else's resume is not as good as mine? He could literally say that about everybody, except for except for Canelo, in my opinion.
What do you want to talk about wrestling? Gabriel Rosado?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But we're okay with Gabriel Rosado. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he got beat by some good fighters, but he still got beat.
Right. 17 times.
He's not even a world champion.
17 times.
You want him to talk about wrestling?
Come on, bro. Yeah, we're okay. That's such a great example. We're okay with Devin Haney, with Gabriel Rosado talking trash about Devin Haney's resume, but we're not okay about Terrence Crawford giving his opinion on Errol Spencer's resume. That's how backwards we are, bro. I'm so glad that's a great. I wish I would have thought about that for my video, bro. We are literally okay with Gabriel Rosado, who has 17 losses, hasn't headlined nothing off of his own accord. If he headlined, it's because of who he was fighting, not because of him. You know, he's talking down on and being dismissive about a guy who's the youngest undisputed male champion in the 4-belt era, and Devin Haney. We're okay with that. People agree with that. But Terrence Crawford, oh, how dare him say that Errol Spence's resume is not as good as mine? That's crazy, bro. That's a great point. I ain't even think about that.
And he ain't lying because resume by resume, Errol and Bud are pretty similar at 147.
At 147, yep.
Slightly Errol edges it out because
I agree.
More,
I agree.
Slightly, but if you go down, then Bud takes it
right, because then you got to add in the 140, and then you also got to add in the 154. He got a belt at 154. Come on now.
You gotta add Madrimov. You gotta add.
Come on now.
All them wins, you know. So it's like if it's just 147 specifically, yeah, Errol is.
I agree.
Now, as a whole, Bud takes a cake.
I agree, 1000%. Tech Dumb Dad says Nello has way more fights than any of those. Also, yeah, 66 fights exactly, 62, 2-2. And is younger than most. Yep, 34 years old, right? And Bud is 37, going on 38 this year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. E-Dub was good. He said, damn. That boy 38.
Damn.
That's not old in life, you know, but in boxing, you know. And that's the thing when people say he's not active. Right. I mean, he fights once a year. He's 38 and he has 41 fights. You know what I'm saying? Like Dub said, like Tech Dumb Dad said, Canelo has more fights than everybody. That's it, bro. You know, Terrence Crawford has 41 fights, undefeated, 37-38. Deontay Wilder has 48 fights, 4 losses, and then 34 wins or 44 wins, whatever it is, something like that, or maybe have a draw in there. He has a draw in there, so yeah, so maybe 43 wins, and you get what I'm saying, 1 draw and 4 losses, whatever it is. But he has 48 fights, but he's 39, going on 40. You know what I'm saying? Beterbiev is 40. People say he's old, right? But he only has 20-something fights. Deontay Wilder, people love to see him get beat on. That man's 39, going on 40, and he has 48 fights. So ring mileage is something too. Ring age is something too. Canelo may be younger than Terrence Crawford, but you could argue that they're about even because Canelo has 20-something more fights, 25 more fights. He has 41 fights, and Canelo has 66, right? So yeah, so 25 more fights. So he's 3 years younger, but he has 25 more fights. How many years do you think it takes to get 25 more freaking fights? So let's go with Usyk. Exactly. So Usyk has 27 fights, something like that? He's the same age as Bud. Bud is what, 37? They're both 37, both 38 or whatever. But what's the name has 14 more fights. How many years does it take to get 14 more freaking fights? It's crazy, bro. Exactly. So people talk this crazy stuff. They don't think, bro. They just be talking. They're talking out the side of their neck, bro. Yo, my boy Q in the building, man. My boy Casas Abdul Aziz dropping that graffiti on the chat walls with that hello yellow on a fellow with that bread, that cheese, that butter. Yes, sir, man. Thank you so much, man. He said, just wanted to drop in for a second, show my support. Sorry, I've been MIA lately. It's all good, bro. I've been working like crazy. Hey, man, get it in, man. But thank you for the amazing content, man. Thank you for the love and the support, man, and the brotherhood and all that stuff, man. Thank y'all. Love, man.
I got a question for you, but
yes,
dog.
sir. Yes, sir.
Out of Sandy Ryan and Tevin Farmer, they both lost for the same reasons.
Yep.
Who do you think has the better argument for it to be a closer fight or a closer result?
Better argument, Sandy Ryan. And that's no disrespect to Farmer, but you know, at least there was times in there where I'm sorry, bro. Shout out to my boy Tevin Farmer. There was times in there where I didn't know what the freak he was doing. There was never a time where I didn't think Sandy Ryan wasn't fighting. I don't know what Tevin Farmer was doing sometimes. Sitting there getting punched on.
The fight today in the morning. He dropped his hands and he was showboating. I'm like, bro, what you doing? And I'm sorry, but at this corner, God, like, you know how we say, oh, this fighter should retire and all this and that, and the fighters just don't got it and this and that.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but if your corner thinks you won that fight,
yes.
Hell no, fire all that motherfuckers.
Every single one of them. Every single one. I don't care if they're your father, your cousin, your uncle, your aunt. I don't care if they're no relation. I don't care. You fire them because, like I said, Tevin Farmer feeling like he won. Okay, you're in the middle of it, right? You in the shit. You in the pain. But your corner. Yes.
Like he was rolling with the punches.
Rolling with the punches, right?
Like, he has an extraordinary defense.
Yes.
Like, and I put it earlier, like with the Mortel fight, he landed 109 punches. 109.
Yes.
I mean, he landed this time 152 or something like that.
152. Yep. Exactly. Yep. 152.
So yeah, Tevin Farmer thinks he stepped on the gas, but whenever you're a slow fighter fighting on the counter punching and all that stuff,
yep,
that shit ain't enough for the guy in front of you.
Nope.
When you heard him, he was still punching.
Yep. Yep. And you got to realize that. And so it's like I don't even know how his corner didn't tell him that he was down. Like what were y'all watching? I'm not mad at Tevin Farmer, but your corner, bro. Like he didn't, bro. I literally gave him the first round I gave Tevin Farmer was round 7, bro. So at best you could get a draw. I mean, of course, unless you stop him or or drop him. You know what I'm saying? But if you just keep winning the rounds, at best you were gonna get that 114 score. At best. I literally gave rounds 1 through 6 to Zepeda. And I honestly, if there's anybody out there that gave Farmer a round between 1 and 6, I think you're crazy. There's no way.
Hell no.
There's no way you could give him a round between 1 and 6.
Even the 7th.
Even the 7th, yes. I literally had the 7th round as a swing round.
I didn't give it to him because he still lost the round.
Yep.
I'm sorry. He was more active, yes. He was doing that's when he started going around the ring.
Yep.
Zepeda was struggling cutting out the ring.
Yep.
He's starting to feel the pressure, the gas, because Farmer took some punches. I was like, how is he eating these, bro? Like the body punches? I was like, how are you eating those?
Yeah, I don't know how he was taking those body
moving
punches.
like that?
Yeah, facts. I don't know how he was.
And then it made me question, like, bro, what are you doing the whole fight?
Yep.
But like, the seventh round, I gave it to Zepeda because that was his best round. That's when you can tell at the end of the round. That's where you can tell that the fight was gonna switch to Termer's favor. It was too late by then. But to me, he didn't do enough.
Yep, I'm not mad at that.
Now the 8th, that's when I gave it to Farmer. But I was like,
8th I gave to Farmer as well. Yeah. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. Though.
Like the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th, I thought he was gonna go out.
Bro, especially the second round, like he was gonna get dropped. May is a crazy month of boxing, doctor. What do you think about May? Yeah, the May cards are good, man. Especially that well, we could talk about that after this. E-Dub. Yeah, that's crazy that there's no attendance, which I kind of expected though. I expected they were gonna have some type of security measures, but invitation only is wild. Yep. For the May 2nd card. But hey, I mean, I ain't mad at it though. Tevin overachieved the first fight. Yep, it was Zepeda's job as a younger, stronger guy to make the adjustments to win convincingly, and he did that. Tevin didn't need a different game plan, but he had one. Yeah, I think Tevin Farmer, like I said,
But he wasn't
mad at
even
himself.
doing the first. No, he wasn't even doing the things he did at the first fight. Though.
I agree, exactly. I will say in his defense. Right, I will say in his defense, maybe I have to go back and watch the first fight, but I think Zepeda started off even faster this second fight. At least it felt like it. So maybe that caught him off guard or whatever. I don't know, but you got to understand, man, Zepeda is 1,000 punches per fighter, bro. He threw 974 freaking punches, bro. You're not gonna beat him unless you I mean, you're not gonna beat him with your lesser work rate unless you dropping him and making every punch count. Unless you going out there like Wilder or Beterbiev or some other big puncher like that, Triple G, you're not gonna beat a guy that's literally outlanded you 3 times as many. You know what I'm saying? Well, it was really two and some change. He landed 152, like you said. Zepeda landed 344, bro. That's literally double. Crazy, yes, bro. That's crazy, bro. He doubled your landing and plus 40 extra punches. Like, take that with you. That's just extra.
You know what it reminded me of? Remember Robesi versus Espinosa 1?
Mm-hmm.
Where he got dropped.
Yep.
Espinosa, but you could tell he was outlanding Robesi by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And he was putting the pause on him. He was putting the pressure on Robesi.
Yep.
And Robesi was just working off his counter. That's what it reminded me of. I'm like,
yep. With no knockdowns. With no knockdowns.
Yeah, with no knockdowns. It's just another punch.
How you gonna win that? How you gonna win that fight, bro? At least Robesi dropped Espinosa. He was getting outlanded and he was not knocking down his opponent. How you gonna win that? Come on, bro. What are we talking about? Shout out to Tevin Farmer. There's not. My frustration is not with him. Yeah, my frustration not with him. It's just that the people are really buying into that. Then he got robbed. Robbed where? What fight did you watch?
He landed the more significant punches at the later rounds, but Zepeda was still punching. He was winning the rounds by slightly winning.
Mm-hmm.
Not really like Zepeda, because like I said, the second round I thought he was gonna get stopped. The 5th round I thought he was gonna get stopped.
Right.
And the 4th round I thought he was gonna get stopped. I was like, oh shit.
Right.
And those should have been 10-8 rounds. Because
Right.
Farmer wasn't landing shit.
Right. E-Dub said people saying Tevin was robbed. That is the craziest thing I ever heard. Tevin lost. Yeah, I agree, E-Dub. I don't even know what they're talking about. And it's, you know what I'm saying, it's not about being biased. It's about loving the sport, man. And both fighters are getting punched on, whether you like them or not. At some point, you got to respect that part. You know what I'm saying? Outside of bias. And I'm not saying that people that think that he won are necessarily biased. We all see things out different lenses, But I don't see how you could have like, bro. If Tevin Farmer would have won, that would have been a robbery. What are we talking? What are we talking about, bro? Like, come on, bro. You can't say the guy who lost was a robbery, but if he would have won, that would have been a robbery, bro. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
no, yeah.
Come on.
And
man.
like I said, like Tevin Farmer probably thought he was landing more, or maybe on his head he was even thinking he was throwing more.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Tevin Farmer.
Right.
Tevin Farmer did his thing.
Right.
He went up there. He followed I don't even know what kind of game plan he has. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, now rounds 1 through 6. I don't know what he was doing. Oh, what that was 1 through 6.
But his team should have known better.
Yep.
I just don't know how you're in the corner seeing that and you're like, yeah, we win the fight. How, bro?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm mad at. I'm mad at his corner. Like, how do you not convey to this young man that he is losing this fight, that he is down? Why does he think he's up? Shakur boxes his ears off. Zepeda can't beat what he can't hit. Yep, Shakur is the hardest to hit in all the boxes. Zepeda don't got nothing for Shakur. I agree with that. Fact, Shakur. I still want to see that fight, though. I ain't gonna lie. Thomas Hill, what's good, my brother? The good doctor of boxing talk. Salutations, man. What kind of lenses you got in them specs, fam? You feel me? I gotta ask him. E-Dub said people said Tevin was robbed. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. I still want to see Zepeda and Shakur. I just don't want to hear nothing about Zepeda calling out Shakur, though. I don't. If that fight happens, let it just happen. But I don't want to hear from Zepeda, Panda, Oscar. I don't want to hear from, I don't want to hear nothing in regards to Shakur, because they clearly don't want that fight. And same way Kid Austin, too.
Zepeda reminds me of Pitbull in a way, because, yes, people say he don't got good defense. I think he's got decent defense. I'm not going to say the best, but I think he's got decent. And
Zepeda?
But, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's nothing like Shakur or like that. But like you seen him like dodging some punches, and you know, rolling with some punches. Not all of them, because he's throwing. He can't defend while he's throwing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he reminds me of Pitbull in the sense that you know what he's gonna do.
Right.
How are you able to stop him? That's the question.
Right.
And I think Shakur needs Zepeda for like people to drop that stigma, like, oh yeah, Shakur's boring. Like if Shakur fights Zepeda, that'd be the best thing for Shakur. That'd
I
be
agree.
the best Shakur will
Yep.
see.
Yep. Because you're gonna force, you're gonna force him to look good. You know, even though I think he's winning, it's gonna make him look good because the pace is gonna keep coming until you stop him or drop him or whatever it is. So shout out to
I
Zepeda
think
for that.
Shakur needs it,
Yep.
and I want to see that fight because if you don't drop him, because people saying that he's got soft hands, or people saying that he just don't got the dog in Shakur don't got the dog in him, which I don't really know what the fuck that means, but it's like if he don't do that, then Zepeda's gonna win.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yep. He says Zepeda got terrible defense. Yeah, I don't think he has decent defense, good defense either. But shout out to my boy Oscar, man. You know, that's why we talk about these things. He said, but I will say this: never mistake activity for achievement. Right. That's a good point, Thomas. He said, just because a ninja looks more active doesn't mean that his activity is achieving its desired goal. I agree. The part, my rebuttal to that is, Thomas, is that I agree with you. But what is the contrary though? His activity, what they say in basketball. I know you're a basketball head. The best defense, the best defense is a good offense, or something like that. The best offense is a good, the best defense is a good offense. When Tevin Farmer, he may not have been doing Zepeda might not have been achieving his desired goal of hurting Tevin Farmer, but you know what his high powered offense was doing? Stopping Tevin Farmer for getting off of offense at all. So you're right. I agree that his offense might not have been that effective all the time, but his offense was stopping Tevin Farmer from getting any offense started. So if Zepeda's offense wasn't effective, Tevin Farmer's offense was non-existent for half of that fight. You see what I'm saying? So it accomplished that goal and stopped him from doing anything besides trying to block. And then sometimes he wasn't even doing that. Oh, Thomas is in the building. Hey, I see you, bro. I'm pulling you up now. So you could vocalize this. But I definitely agree with that statement. But I don't think that's applicable to this situation, in my personal opinion. My guy Thomas in the building. What's good, brother?
Oh man, I just figured out how to get in this bad boy. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
He's like, who Busta? Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna drop a verse just now. I'm like, oh shit.
Hey, that was one of my favorite rappers back in the day, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, what's that, though? Let me say this. By no. Let me say, how should I say this? By no measure am I saying that Tevin Farmer won that fight.
Right.
I will say that there were rounds where it looked worse than what it truly was, bro.
I agree.
I agree with some of those times where it was a lot of flurries, it was just activity. It wasn't achievement. He was catching, he was rolling, he was missing. And then there was some where he was legitimately hurt. I thought that the cleaner, more effective punches were being thrown oddly by Tevin.
I agree with that.
Frequent.
I agree with that too.
Just wasn't frequent.
Yep, I agree with that.
I don't know if it was because he said that his elbow was hurt or whatever was hurting him.
Yeah.
But you know, it never looks good when somebody is just coming at you welling and throwing punches. You got a crowd that want that person to win, and they throwing all them punches and they just going crazy, and you over there looking like you're hurt. Now, there were two times in that fight where he really was hurt, though.
Come on now.
2 times, earlier on in that fight, later on in that fight.
Come on now.
But the way he responded when he was hurt both times was pretty damn admirable, man. I got to give him some that because, like, he was able to weather the storm, and you know, he did it standing up on his feet, bro. I remember one of the times the corner was like imploring him to take a knee, and that make you think, you said, knee where?
Yep.
I'm about to get off on this dude. I'm going to throw a hook. So, yeah, I don't believe he won the fight. I believe the fight was closer than many think, and I think that he, once again, made a very good account of himself, and he's still a viable commodity in the sport of boxing.
Absolutely, 1,000%. Yep. I applaud his resiliency as well. So I want to be clear too. On the flip side, you know, I didn't think that he was he got a wash. I scored a 7-5, but I thought it was a clear 7-5 for Zepeda. You see, I thought it was 115, 113. You know, so I definitely applaud everything you said. You know, I agree with that 1,000%. But I just don't feel like a robbery is crazy to me. Like, I thought the first Zepeda fight was closer, and I thought, you know, the Muratalla fight could have been argued a robbery, but this one, I thought while I did think it was a close fight, I thought it was a clear winner with Zepeda because, you know, at least in the first fight, he dropped him. You know, so like you said, he was punching sporadically with the more effective punches, and we saw the result of it by a knockdown. This one is like he was punching sporadically, but then we didn't even get the emphatic exclamation point with a knockdown or anything. And when the guy's outlanding you, not only outthrowing you, but outlanding you, like I think he landed 152. Zepeda landed 344, man. And that's just, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to favor a guy who's getting, who at least the optics make it look like he's getting overwhelmed. Whether like you said, whether it's effective or not, it looks effective because of his lack of response. You know, so I feel like
how he responded.
Say it again.
And then sometimes how he responded.
Right.
The way he responded looked like it was doing damage.
You feel me?
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
I'm on board with you. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm on board.
No. Go ahead. Do your thing, bro. Do your thing. I appreciate it. Give me a break.
No. Even what you were saying to base it on, I don't think the first fight with him was a robbery. I thought it was a close fight in which he won, but I don't think it was a robbery because later on in the fight, much like in this fight, you could see the persistence and the pressure of what's his name again?
Zepeda.
Zepeda, yeah, taking hold and really showing his wear. So, you know, and the same thing with the Muay Thai fight. I thought he won the fight.
Right.
But you can't give up rounds later in the fight because that's what they're going to remember.
Come on now.
The last thing you do is what they're going to remember. That's why you can win fights in the last 10 seconds and do absolutely nothing.
Talk to him.
The whole 3 minutes before it, 250 before it.
Yep. Ask Beterbiev. Beterbiev did that a lot to Bivol. Took off in the last 10 seconds and took the round. In the first fight.
With that, so with that being the case, bro, like there's no robbery at any of those fights.
Right.
If you would have done what you should have done, you could have won the fight.
Right.
But make no mistake about it, it was competitive in the Muay Thai fight.
Yes,
it was competitive in the first Zepeda fight.
Yes, sir.
Now, I had him beating Muay Thai. I had him beating Zepeda. But I'm not mad that anybody said, nah, Zepeda won and nah, Muay Thai won. Last night, there was no doubt that Zepeda won to me, but it was still a close fight, and it was a damn good fight.
Absolutely. I'll watch it again.
Farmer, I don't think you should consider retiring unless you're just done with it because you still are the goods, sir. You still are the goods, and I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, I agree. I was just in concurrence with you, man. I think that my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off either. So I was just I think the best point that you made, all good points, but what stands out is like you said with the retire. I don't think you should retire either. I think he still has a lot to give the sport if he wants to, you know, contingent on his desire. Yeah, if he wants to. But yeah, I think that I think he still made a good showing of himself. I think he still beats a lot of fighters. And I definitely don't think that this is it for him. I know he's disappointed and stuff like that, but I do think that, you know, if he thinks that if his corner was telling him that he wasn't losing that fight, man, I think he might need to reconsider some things. Not necessarily get rid of him, but freak that. I'm gonna say get rid of him. Bro, ain't no way. Like you gotta put some urgency in your fighter, man. You gotta know when to tell the turn. Like Farmer, he's in the paint. So I understand him think, you know, because like you said, Thomas, and like we said, Oscar said as well, it's like you feel like you slip into those punches. You demonstrating and exhibiting a lot of good defense, but the corner sees what the people are seeing. It's like even with Nick Ball and Ray Ford, I thought it was another example. Like I don't feel like Nick Ball was landing a lot either. But if you're the judge, which you know they're placed at each side of the ring or whatever, if you're the judge looking from the backside, and Nick Ball is just throwing punches, you can't see. You can't see if they're landing. You just see one guy throwing punches, one guy's back's on the ropes. Of course you're gonna think it's effective. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta understand that too with the optics, you know, and at the end of the day, not towards anybody in this chat right now, but a lot of people saying it's robbery. Is like, man, you know, the judges, only two of them gave it to Farmer. Two of them gave it to Zepeda and one gave it a draw. So nobody had Farmer winning as far as the official guys or ladies and gentlemen that have, you know, the jurisdiction to determine these things. You know, two of them gave it to Farmer. I said it again. Two of them gave it to Zepeda and one gave it to Farmer. One gave a draw. None of them gave it to Farmer. So, and of course, you know, we all watch boxing a lot. I know there's plenty of times where myself and Oscar, and I'm sure Thomas, y'all didn't agree with none of the judges. So that's not really saying much, but I do think that's important to point out that, you know, in this case.
I will say though, can I say like?
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say I'm gonna ask a question to Thomas too.
Yeah,
so, like
ahead.
I was gonna say, you did say yesterday that rolling with the punches sometimes it's not the best thing to do. Sometimes it'd be best to dodge them because, especially with like Tevin Farmer yesterday, where he was throwing so little but so effective. It was so effective, but he wasn't throwing enough. That it makes it look like he was landing the punch.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't get the corner's perception. And I want to ask Thomas Hill, when the fight was over, what do you thought about the corner getting mad that Farmer lost? Like the corner itself.
So for me, I don't believe you should ever, like, you should never let somebody else know that what they did or what they said affected you. Especially if you hold yourself, because you can always take measures to do it. You got to carry yourself as a champion in and out that ring, and the thing to go. So no, I don't agree with them being upset. And for the simple matter that, like, they should have no reason to be upset. I mean, he didn't win the fight. Now, that being said, they had to know something was up, because didn't they bring his wife up there to talk to him?
I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen people do that unless they need some motivation for picking it up.
That's a good point. Yep.
That's real rap, though. That's real rap, though, right?
Yeah.
Yo. Hey, man, go in there. Hey, we gotta give you some extra motivation. Hey, baby girl, come up here. Holla at him. He needs that's real rap, though, right?
Yeah.
You know, every time I've seen a woman, and it's only been a few times,
right,
that has been either the girlfriend or the wife go up, it's because they husband is getting handled in the ring, and they need some extra motivation, because what I'm saying is not resonating with the fighter.
Right. That's a good point. Because I remember seeing her up there. I watched it on mute, but I seen it. You're right. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you talk about the fight a woman, you talk about their mama, or you try to take their money, then it's a different fight. So they try to get a different fight out of him. So I don't agree with it. And besides that, if you're going to go forward, you don't want to look like you spoiled brats. You want to look like you're a professional, so that when they handle the matter, they may consider it in a professional format. Like, okay, well, maybe let's look at it. But when you go out there doing that, they don't give no credence. Like, you just a crybaby. And, you know, there is the thing called the corporate complexion. They don't have the corporate complexion. So you really got to govern yourself a certain way in order for you to get any type of respect. But nah, I don't agree with it. And, you know, the fact that he brought his wife up there lets you know that they didn't agree with it.
That was a good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was wild, bro. But I mean, because it, like you said, the optics, and like a lot of the times, and I will contend, a lot of the times it was just activity.
Yeah.
But sometimes that activity definitely achieved a certain goal. It definitely hit the target, and it definitely had him affected. He was affected out there on a couple of instances. There was I say 3 instances he was affected. And that pressure was overwhelming in those moments. And it didn't, one moment, man, it didn't look like, bro, it looked like the sparring session clip from Devin Haney and Tank.
Like facts.
Yeah, and I mean no shade to Devin Haney, but it's just at one point in time, there was no punches coming back, right?
Yep.
Some people said they clipped it, they looped it, they did all of that. Well, that was real life. There was no clipping, no looping.
Nope.
It was no punches coming back. You were turning around. You were doing the tortilla shell. You was doing all kind of stuff, dog. Like, it looked bad.
Absolutely.
It was so bad that the next round came up with your wife.
Yep.
They talk some sense into it.
Yep. No, you're right. And like Oscar was saying too, like there was times where I thought the referee may have stopped it because when he would turn his back, but he was just, he was just regathering himself and, regrouping, I guess, and changing the angle, but it didn't look good, man. Go ahead, Oscar. Sorry.
I was gonna say like.
No, go ahead. My bad. I was about to say something, but go ahead. It's your floor, man. My bad.
No, I was gonna say like I don't know how the ref didn't stop it, especially because he gave his back 2 times, and then he was gonna turn around the 3rd time. The ref was like, "Nah, don't do that."
Yep. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't stop it, but hey, the referee, could have.
Yeah, given that statement, I'm sorry to cut you off, man. Given that statement, I think that's, if I'm looking at officiating, I'm commending this man. for being able to read what he's seeing in the ring and not be emotional to the way it looks and to the way the crowd is responding to it. Because there are some folks that would have looked and said, dog, I'm going to stop it.
Yep.
Clearly, he shouldn't have stopped it. But was able to give up. And then only that, he put on a hell of a performance after it. But, yo, there's a lot of times we criticize the officiating.
Yes.
We criticize the judging.
Yes.
Well, in this case, I think both of them did very well in the way that they handled themselves, the judges and the officiating. So I want to commend them. And
That's a good point. No, that's a good point, because I don't think I had an issue with any of the calls or from the official or the judge or the judge's results this whole night. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I did. So not on the top ranked card or the DAZN card, the Golden Boy card. Yeah. Yep.
And it was tremendous fights all night long too. I got to give the people that put it on in the ring, man.
Yep.
I lay respect to them.
Yep.
All the cards were pretty dang solid, and they were all entertaining.
Yep.
Professionally done too.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize once again for stepping in, man, and cutting you off.
No, you good. Doing your thing, man. I think I'm trying to think of another fight. What do you think about what y'all think about the Brian Norman Derrieck Cuevas?
Ooh, I don't know, man.
You don't know?
Well, let me say this, man.
Go first, Thomas?
Oh, you want to go first?
No, you go first.
You want me to go first? Well,
you go first.
I had my reservations against my man Norman Jr. I thought that, the Santillan was like lightning in a flash in the pan type performance. The performances before that, I thought, man, the one dude from Houston definitely beat him. I'm gonna still stay on that square on that one. I forget his name. Was it Hooker?
Was it Maurice Hooker? Let me see. I'm about to look at it right now.
Yeah.
I think it was Maurice Hooker. Let me see.
But I thought he beat him for sure. I thought he did better work in the ring, and I saw a couple of other fights where he didn't look so good. Santillan fight, I mean, he looked spectacular, and then in this fight, while you looking up that information, he looked pretty damn spectacular. He looked like
he did.
He
Quentin Randall.
Really deserving of being called. Quentin Randall, that's it. Quentin Randall.
Yep,
shout out Sunnyside. Shout out my man Rick Timms the third. That's his boy.
Yes, sir.
Support my man Rick Timms and support my man Quentin Randall. Man, he got robbed out of that fight. I thought he did enough to win that fight. And
that was a close fight. Yeah, that was a close fight.
I won't say robbed. I'll scale back on that word robbed. I thought he got a short end of the stick on that one. I won't say robbed.
That was a close fight, though.
Like you said, it's the optics.
Yeah.
And going to that point of the optics before I finish in, dog, we got to recognize that they're sitting at a fixed vantage point, looking up. So it's always going to look a different way to a different official.
Come on,
because sometimes you might have people blocking you, you might have bodies blocking you, the ref blocking you, the ropes blocking you, the angle not giving you a proper look of it. So, with that being said, though, I can't really scream bloody murder on certain things because I think they need to fix that. They need to be able to either elevate their position or place them in a position where they could see like we see, where they could see all action. That would be nice. But going back to that fight, yeah, your boy looked ready. He looked like he's a champion, and he looks like that Boots fight should be one of the fights that they venture for next. Man, I ain't got nothing but support for him. I ain't got nothing but respect for him. And hey, him and his dad, they standing on business, bro. So let's just see if they can go forward with that Boots fight or another champion, so to speak. Even if it's
Barrios or Stanionis, yeah.
Well, I think Boots and Stanionis is on slate, right?
Yeah, they fight April 12th. Yeah, April 12th.
And Barrios should be the next move for him, man.
I hope so, man. I don't know what Barrios is doing though, man.
That would be a great fight too.
That would be a great fight. A great fight. People be
I got nothing but respect for him. So, Omar, if I ever said something bad about him, I had to eat crow on that one because he went out there and he got the guy didn't look like he wanted to be there, and guess what? He helped him along the way. Like,
yes,
man, you don't want to be up in here, let me help you out.
Yes, sir.
Let me help you out. Take this with you.
Yes, sir.
Go on your way, watch yourself. So yeah, it was a great performance.
I think so too. What you were saying, Oscar, about Barrios?
Barrios is recovering right now at the moment.
Oh yeah, I heard Barrios put his hands on somebody.
No, he didn't put his hands on nobody.
Yeah. He got hands put on him. That's what they say. The word on the street.
Well, well, for on behalf of another female, right? Though some
Yeah,
mistreatment of a female.
Well, yeah, well, how I heard it was that he was, so he's with, he has a baby with Figueroa's sister, Brandon and Omar Figueroa's sister. Yeah, Brandon Figueroa, Omar Figueroa, and
Pretty boy assassin, huh?
yeah. So apparently, this is what I heard. I can't validate or invalidate, but what I've heard is that he stepped out on her. You know, I say he went in messing around and got caught messing around with somebody else, and so bros wasn't playing that.
Man, Omar too, huh?
That's what they say. It was Omar and another brother, not Brandon though, but it was Omar and another brother. And I heard that Brandon was I don't know if Brandon was there or he wasn't there or something like that, but I heard how it was told
Brandon
to me that Brandon didn't do anything.
There, bro. Brandon still got like promise of championship status.
Yeah. And I think he was preparing for the Fulton rematch at that time.
He was there in spirit.
Right. So that's what they say, man. I don't know how true it is, but that's
speedy recovery to my man Barrios. Thank you for that bit of tidbit of information, Omar. I appreciate you.
Oh,
get
man.
your mind right too in the process, baby boy. Don't be going there stepping out of bounds, dog, because you usually get the ball transferred to you.
You feel me?
To the other team.
Oh my goodness, man. Caught my boy Barrios, man. Out there slipping.
Damn. Whole world ain't nothing sunny, bro. Whole world ain't nothing sunny, dog.
Yes, sir.
Walking around like the cloud over his head, like the Charlie Brown character.
Come on now. You better walk light. Oh man. Mm-hmm.
Damn, dog. I definitely don't need to hear stuff like that, man. I feel bad because I rock with Barrios, dog.
I like Barrios too. That's my guy, man. I rock with Barrios, man. You gotta lock in though. I ain't gonna lie. I like the Figueroas though too. I ain't gonna lie. I like that made me like them even more. I already like them, but I like them even more now.
They stand on business. They stand on business.
Stand on business, big business, boy. 10 toes down. Business. Yes, sir. 10 toes down. So I like when I heard that. I like that, bro. Yeah, look out for sis, man. I can't be letting them fools think they do sis all dirty like that, right? Do
shout
sis
out
any
to
type
the
of way.
sis too. You know you got some down people in your family. You ain't never got a problem to worry about.
Right. Yes, sir. But yeah, man. Speaking of the women as well, what you think about the Mikaela Mayer, Sandy Ryan?
Man,
I'm holding it down for the young Cougars.
That's crazy. For the young Cougars, man. Mikaela Mayer out there looking young and old at the same time, man. Shout out to Mikaela Mayer, man.
Damn, dog, that's a bar. That's a bar right there, young Cougar. I like that, dog.
Hey, man, Oscar crazy, bro. Oscar crazy, man.
Yeah, Oscar, you out in my book, bro. You came back with back to back. I'm gonna start calling you Chef Trash out in this.
Hey, Chef Trash. Hey, 3 of them things. That's 3 of them things. Yes, sir.
I ain't mad at it.
Oh, boy, Tyler's watching the battle rap, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Oftentimes, when the women fight, they do mean business, especially when they're skilled. Both of those fighters, say what you want about them, they're both skilled. Both of them use technical application in that ring. Both of them fight with heart and resolve. And on top of that, man, there was the added tension of a love triangle, dog. That, always makes for better intrigue when they come to the ladies. The ladies can get real catty out there.
Yep.
And it was Battle Cat and it was Chitara up in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. What was it? Thundercats, man. That's my joint, man.
Thundercats. Oh,
yes, sir, man. Yeah, facts though. Yeah, K Karoba was caught in the middle, or he made it happen, whatever it was, that trainer. So.
And you could tell she connected with him, man, because whenever he had said something important, she turned and looked dead at him.
Yep.
No matter what was going on, she received the counsel. I will say this, bro. If it would have been 3-minute rounds and it would have been a 12 to 15 round fight, I think Sandy may have pulled that out.
Bro, I said that during the fight. I said, man, if this was a 3-minute fight and 12 rounds, that's exactly what I said during the broadcast yesterday. I was like, bro, Sandy Ryan might be a different story, but hey, it's 10 rounds, 2 minutes. You got to work with what you got. But yeah, I said that as well. I think Sandy
Ryan.
Ryan.
That process, I give them both commendation. Excellent fight. Definitely worthy of main event. Had everything you want in a fight, bro. Everything. Technicality, physicality, and a little bit of pool from the blood and stuff because both of them leaking.
Yep.
One of them by a headbutt, then by a punch.
Yep.
The other one by a punch.
Yep.
So you know what I'm saying? Like it was everything that you would want in a fight on women, and they showed that, and they wore their heart out there on the sleeve. Shout out my girl Sandy Ryan, because she showed the heart of a warrior, and on top of that, she was getting stronger as the fight was getting longer.
Yep.
Shout out to Mikaela Mayer for showing. She is technically sound. She just got to work on that motor. If she work on that motor, she gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Hopefully she get the fight with Lauren Price, man. That could be an undisputed fight at 147 right there. So that could be incoming, man. And Lauren Price already commented on the call out. So I feel like though, if Alicia Baumgartner wants a rematch with Mikaela Mayer, I don't think she wanted either. And I don't blame her. I mean, shoot, you know, that was a close fight. You won, move on. And they're not even in the same division right now. But I think that's the only fight that Mikaela Mayer will prioritize over a Lauren Price undisputed fight. I think.
Lauren Price, that's problems, bro. That's problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think she's strong for anybody.
Yeah, she young and strong. So
and full of confidence, man. I will say this though, Mikaela Mayer, if I were her, I would definitely get with somebody that can work on my win in the fight in the ring, man. Because technically sound, bro. She's up there with some of the very best to ever do it, man. She puts together punches.
Hey,
she got
give me a quick second, real quick. I got a phone call. Keep going though. Keep going. I'll be right back.
Man, I'm gonna let you go on and cook, dog. I've been talking for too much.
No. Keep going. Keep going, please. I'll be right back.
Well, I was gonna just finish by saying, man, you know, she's sharp with her punches. Her timing is pretty damn pinpoint. Her accuracy is like top tier. Her ability to take a punch, man, because she was getting hammered.
Yep.
And she was still able to go. That's pretty damn. It's pretty solid. I won't say granted, but it's solid. Granted is when you get hit with and then it don't even move you. Like Canelo. I seen Canelo, man, that Triple G fight, dog. It was enough to make me a believer in Canelo, dog. He got hit with something that would have dropped a horse. And that make you freaky smile. I said, God dang. So it's pretty solid, dog. She got a sturdy chin. Her endurance, though, man. Her endurance against somebody that's bringing the same type of energy might fail her in the end, man. Because if it would have been longer rounds, like say for instance, she in there with a who I absolutely love. Oh my God, why are names escaping me right now? Oh, girl with MVP. Amanda Serrano. If she in there with Amanda Serrano, you know, one of those punches might just get her to the point where she woozy, and then you got somebody on you. If they know how to get you up out of there, you might be in trouble. But I tell you, her technicality, her ring awareness is up there, man. I gotta give her that, man. I thought that it was a close fight between Baumgartner. I did slightly edge it, but I could see why Baumgartner not really anxious to get in that ring with her again.
Oh yeah, no, she definitely adjusts as the fight goes on. Did it not feel to you like, I get the Sandy Ryan, but it also felt like Mikaela was just trying to win the round and then just managed the round to get out of it, because especially in the later rounds, she was fresh. She was even trading with Sandy Ryan just as much as he was landing. She was thrown, you know. So I don't know. To me, she just tried to manage the rounds instead of closing them out, rather than going out and trying to win the round conventionally. Like she's just trying to win the round, the first half, and then just manage it from there.
Yep. Hey, fellas, I gotta go take care of some things with my family, man. You know I deal with the funeral and stuff, so my bad though. Yeah.
Condolences,
hey, man, I appreciate that, Thomas.
Family, man. I know how grandma can be important in your life, man.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate that,
too, man. I know he important as well too. Give him a biscuit on my behalf. Man.
Already, I appreciate that, bro. Sorry to cut it short, but y'all can continue chopping it up in the Discord though. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't gotta leave. But I just gotta go slide.
For sure. I was only gonna tell after this because I just got back from church service myself.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. God is good.
I gotta get myself contoured too, but I'm gonna say this. I think what you say is true. She did manage the back end of that fight. I do believe some of them rights that was landing on her, especially in round 8, 9, and 10, kind of helped her.
Shout out to the fellas, man. I got to go ahead and slide chat real quick. You know, I got to take care of some things. Got family and stuff coming through, so got to go do the appropriate stuff. 8, let me mod up Thomas, man. I don't be thinking about mods, man. So if anybody wants mods, let me know. I don't be thinking about making people mods, man. I don't really cross my mind. So hopefully no one takes it as a sign of disrespect. I've been noticing in the boxing world, the boxing landscape, a lot of people be modded up and stuff. It just doesn't cross my mind. But if it does cross my mind, though, I'll be wanting people that are in the channel all the time to get mods, you know, because I feel like that's a distinction for people that are in the channel all the time. So yeah, if you want to mod, let me know. I want to mod up Thomas, man. That's my guy right there. But yeah, man, I'll be back on later. Oh, well, no, I will not be back on later. Got some things I gotta take care of. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Also hit that like button for show, man. Also too, man, shout out to for the love of the super chat. My guy Abdul Aziz, man, my guy Casas, man, dropping that love of the super chat. Means a lot, man, with the big $10. You know what I'm talking about? That hello yellow on a fellow. I appreciate it, man. Yes, sir. But yeah, I'll be back on probably tomorrow, good Lord willing. I don't know when. You know, I usually do my morning show at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all know that. And I come back for the evening show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I got some stuff I'm taking care of until things get situated. You feel me? But I should be back on sometime around there. Good Lord willing. My chat is messing up right now. Of course, it's messing up right now when I gotta go. That joke is crazy. Hold on, let me fix this real quick, man. Yeah. But yeah, man, so y'all be easy. Take care of yourselves. Like I said, don't forget to smack that like button and subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well so you get notified when I drop another YouTube video banger, as well as the videos, man. Keep us going and growing. We're at 2,600 subscribers. Let's get to 2,700, man. We're at 2,642. That's what the count says up there. Let's get to 2,650 and close in on that 2,700, man. Let's keep it going so we keep us going and growing, and the algorithm pushes us so we can meet our goal of becoming the biggest and the best, you know, boxing channel on this here YouTube thing. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the subscribers. You know what I'm saying? And especially, man, I got to thank all the members, man, coming through, showing love on the memberships, man, supporting Dr. Boxing Talk with the monthly contribution, man. Keep us going and growing. So y'all be easy. Don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we are nothing. You know what I'm talking about? That's how it always goes. Y'all be easy. The doctor's out. Peace. Shout out to Oscar for pulling up, and Thomas for pulling up as well, man. Everybody else pulling up in the chat. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.